what's up? This is the H870 Podcast. Hey, this is Gary. We are glad you're listening to us here on episode 20. Yo, that is crazy to think that we're 20 episodes in, but here we are. I hope all is doing well. We just got done with Metal Fest a couple of weekends ago, or last weekend. So it's good seeing everybody there. If you got to go, you got to see a lot of great bands, and if you got to see Death Fog did a good job. I'm stoked for those guys. We were happy to play it, and so hopefully you're still doing well. There is a show on the 23rd at Cregan's with our good friends at the Delirium Effect. They'll be introducing us to their new EP. We'll have some friends down from Cape Girardeau called the Scatterguns. We'll be there, and who else will be there? There's some other bands. There'll be a flyer. We'll make sure to get that posted on the Facebook page and Instagram. So be sure to check out the recent pods, the recent episodes with Jake and Cameron of Grandma's Chandelier. Hey, listen, we do have a playlist. Go check that out. That's all the music that our guests have given to us as recommends. We usually ask them to, show us 5 songs they've been listening to recently, or 5 bands or songs that have really impacted their life and everything. And hey, so with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce my guest for episode 20, Mr. Dakota Winders. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Yo, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. We should have cut the mics on as soon as I got here. We've already been talking.
We talked for a while. It's like all the good stuff. We'll just kind of keep that. They will never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it under wraps.
The hidden files.
The hidden files. So Dakota Winders is a busy guy. You just got back. You were in tour like all of June with.
Was it June or July? I forget at this point.
Man.
Oh, it was June. Yeah, it was June.
Yeah,
it was June. Because I was back for 4th of July. Yeah.
So Dakota is in a really wonderful, like, I don't know how to describe. How would you describe Gorepig? Like, they're kind of like new metal. You're kind of.
I mean, we call ourselves New Death. It's,
New Death. Okay,
new
I
metal,
love it.
deathcore.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you guys, Dakota plays guitar in that band. He's playing. You've been in a slew of bands. Like you were in Fleshbound.
Yeah. Well, Fleshbound's still active.
Okay.
I was in a band called Avamel for a while.
Okay.
That was like my longest running band because kind of kept that going by myself for a bit when I was on active duty.
Oh wow.
Didn't really put anything out. I mean, the one thing we did put out, I like basically immediately deleted because it was, I mixed and mastered it and it was just terrible. And then before that, man, I was in bands in high school and stuff. But
okay.
Yeah.
You told me before we got talking. You were in a punk band in 05.
Yeah. 05, 06.
Yo.
Yeah. It's called the Atom Bombs. We never put anything out other than MySpace, but
Man, I'd love to kind of dig into like those archives.
You're telling me every couple months I'll remember one of my, because I was in other bands too,
Sure.
like just random projects, and it's all stuff that I can't find, whether it's like I can't find the SoundCloud page or like the MySpace thing where you can go there and you can see the songs, but
yeah,
you can even hit play and it'll act like it's loading, but they never play. So yeah, man, I have a EP from, I think that punk, not an EP, but a couple songs from that punk band out there somewhere. And then my high school band's like full EP we did is still up, the Then He Rose band I was telling you about.
No way.
But it won't let me play it.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of glad because I would just be cringing the whole time.
That's okay. Okay, there was something I came across. Oh gosh, when was it? I want to see if I can still find. I thought I'd posted it on our Instagram, but I thought it was like this website full of like MySpace bands, or like links to them.
Oh, because they somebody was able to like go through and salvage a lot of the music. Yeah, none of it's on there. I looked through that a while back. Yeah,
Shoot.
I got really excited too, but then I was like, man, nobody knew who you were. Why would they? Who's this band? Yeah.
Yeah, who are they? Okay, so we want to dig into obviously Gorepig and everything that's going on. You mentioned earlier, you said Fleshbound. You guys same members that switch out vocals
yeah,
and everything.
It's the exact same band, but different vocals.
Yeah, Fleshbound was like I was looking on Spotify. Dude, Gorepig has 60,000 monthly listeners, bro.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Fleshbound's and 1,500, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, see, the thing with Fleshbound is like when Gorepig kind of started popping off last summer,
Yeah, yeah.
um, it just
Is that
at
when it
the
all started?
well, it was beginning of last year. The Father Hog song kind of had some really good traction, and right around the same time we put Pigsty out, we had like I want to say I say a couple, but it was like 2 or 3 TikToks in the
Yeah.
same week, kind of like just went viral. Like not even ours, but other creators, like big creators making
Yeah.
TikToks with our stuff or reacting to it or whatever. And so we got big boosts from that. And then I don't know, man,
That's awesome.
it caught the wildfire. But with
I love
Fleshbound,
it.
we were actually around like 4 or 5K monthly, but it's just the long break because of having to work on Gorepig so much, just kind of
Well, that's
it's
still
died
really
down.
good though. That's
Yeah,
still really good though. I mean,
yeah.
people are still listening to it. I mean, that's like I was like, dude, that's crazy. I mean, think and I know you guys like you started doing. Now you started making music in '05. You had like had that punk band, but when did like what kind of got you into like all like, hey, I'm gonna be in a band. I'm gonna start writing music. Has it always like I mean, how long has that been like a thing of yours?
Oh man, I can remember. I don't know. I was really young and I was hanging out with my dad. One of his friends had a guitar,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I want to try that. And I'll never forget. He taught me how to play a G chord the wrong way, but it kind of stuck with me. And then it was like a couple years later, I asked my family for a guitar,
Yeah.
and man, I want to say I played guitar for maybe 2 or 3 years, and
Okay.
I started hanging out with a buddy that we skated, and
Awesome.
he
Awesome.
also played guitar and played punk, and yeah, from the
Dude.
time I was like 13 or 14.
Now where did you grow up at?
Uh, all over. My
All over.
mom, my mom kind of liked to move around, so I mean, I've
Okay.
lived pretty well all over Arkansas, and we've not really lived out of state, but there's been a lot of just adventures in my life. But
That
I would say primarily Northeast Arkansas,
primarily
Cherry
Northeast Arkansas.
Valley, Vandale, Wynn.
Okay. Okay. So so your dad teaches you a G chord.
No, his friend does.
His friend teaches your
Yeah,
dad's friend teaches you a G chord the wrong way.
the real wrong.
So, well, what's the wrong way?
Um, well, he actually wasn't that far off. He had me do like the top bass and then the bottom E, but he
Yeah.
didn't have me fill in with the pointer finger
Oh,
on the
okay.
A.
Okay.
So it was just like one note off. But I remember like a couple years later, one of my buddies brought his guitar over and we were playing, and I was like, "Yeah, I know how to play a G." Did it, and he's like, "That's
No.
wrong." Well, I don't know anything. Never mind.
Hey. So, so when did you like discover like I don't know like punk rock and metal? Like when did that kind of walk into your life there?
Oh man. Well, I was a skater, so
Nice.
I was kind of already like listening to alternative stuff, and at the time, like 3 Days Grace and
I got
all
you.
the radio stuff, Disturbed and
Yeah.
Corn and things like that. And then I met this guy named Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy if you listen to this, Jimmy Smith.
Awesome.
And he was like 2 years older than me,
Okay.
also skated, but he was homeschooled. So
Okay.
like his mom was more like comfortable with him kind of like going out and skating and being out, and like he only did school a couple hours a day, so he had a lot more freedom.
Nice.
And so on the weekends I would go hang out with Jimmy, and his mom would take us to shows or his brother would take us to shows, and
Whoa.
he listened to punk music, so I got into like the Misfits and the
Oh,
Casualties.
nice.
And then I'll never forget one day he played 94 Hours by As I Lay Dying, which now with everything that's happened, it's not the most popular band, but at the time 94 Hours really blew my mind. And I want to say like within a week I found the Devil Wears Prada, and it just
That was
took
it.
off from there. Yeah.
That was it. So you skated
Yep. A
That-
lot.
a
I
lot.
still go every now and then, but
I didn't know that about you, man.
yeah.
It's awesome. So it's like this awesome gem to find, like, because man, I skated for, I think, I always tell people, I go, I think skating or skateboarding is kind of the gateway to like finding like
Alternative music.
alternative music.
Just the lifestyle in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so you're a street skater?
Yeah, I did a lot of street skating. I used to go to the old skate park in Memphis whenever it
No
was a venue and
way.
stuff. Yeah, dude.
Wait, so did you go when it was a venue?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Me and my cousin would just go skate. Like my dad would take me and a couple of my cousins just to go skate. and so I never paid attention to the bands. But I
Okay.
was there for a few shows. I couldn't tell you who I was there
Oh,
for at all.
it's like the skate park in Memphis?
Yeah, it
No
used to be
way.
called Trinity. I want to say,
Oh, wow.
or maybe that was the updated name, and I'm
Okay.
forgetting. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So you street skated. So like, were you good at like the? I'm terrible like that. Like I've been watching the Olympics. So I know they got the street, well, like the streets, like the street course. Like were you like doing like the ramps and like
You talking about just like the actual park
yeah,
stuff?
like the park type stuff, you know?
I did street and park. Whenever I was at like my peak of skating, I really like to do like stairs and gaps.
Nice,
But I
awesome.
mean, I don't know. I was never like crazy good. I could do like tray flips and
Uh,
stuff like that. But
Hey, it's not walking the park.
no, it's definitely not. I'm not crediting myself. But like I wasn't
Uh,
insane or anything. You know,
oh man,
it was
dude.
fun.
That's awesome. I like the flippity tricks and everything else. I like doing those. Like I had friends who could do like the like the stairs and the handrails and
Yeah,
all the things. I'm like I would and like ollie like trash cans. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that.
yeah. I would do like I never hit like handrails or anything. But if a skate park had like a good it's not really, I guess, too much different than a handrail, but they'd have like the boxes that go down the side of the
Yeah,
stairs with the
yeah,
rails
yeah.
on. I'd do those,
Okay,
but
yeah.
just like 50/50s, nothing,
Very cool, man.
you know.
But yeah, I really think like that's like I mean, I think I always think like skateboard culture. I wish I'd paid it more attention to like Thrasher magazine back in the day
Yeah,
because I know they always reviewed like bands and stuff, and I was like, man, I would have gotten into music. I probably would have gotten to punk and like hardcore and all that stuff a whole lot earlier than what I did. But being from Arkansas, being 14 and from Arkansas, I mean, you'd be like this like
that type of stuff's not fostered here. I mean, I,
no,
I
no,
got
no,
bullied in high school because it was, I mean,
yeah,
the early 2000s, man, people weren't wearing skinny jeans yet. They weren't
no,
wearing
no,
band merch. So yeah, dude, like I remember growing up and like getting picked on and all that. And, now dressing alternative is like
right,
mainstream fashion
right.
almost. So I don't know.
That's awesome. I had some okay, so I want to kind of dig in some of this. So how did it? Because these are questions that I personally would ask you.
Mhm.
Like what? So how did how what's the origin story of like Gorepig? How did it kind of like begin?
So I, as far as a full-fledged member, have only been in Gorepig for a little over a year. But I have been involved with Gorepig in the background since its inception, so I can somewhat comfortably speak on it.
Okay.
Cody Lambert, our vocalist, he was trying to do projects with a few other people, and then he was like, I'm just going to do my own thing and whatever. And he would
Okay.
always come to me for advice. And, you know, I tell people all the time the only secret to music, and I really feel like anything in life, is just not giving up. I mean, if you
I
keep
like that.
putting your best foot forward and you keep showing up, something will happen. It might not be what you imagine, but something will happen. If you keep pushing, something will happen eventually. Like
Sure. Yeah.
someone will notice it and something will happen, or you will end up in a situation that does work out,
Sure. Yeah.
And so Cody would hit me up and he's like, man, I'm struggling with this. And finally I was like, man, you just got to do your own thing and just keep bringing people in until you find the right people. And so that's kind of what he did. He started the band out with a few guys or with one guy, and he sent me their first song, and I was like, "Hey, this is really good." It was Butcher Gang,
Okay.
or Butcher Gang. Yeah, it was Butcher Gang,
Okay.
and they sent it to me, and I was like, "Dude, this is really good. It has a lot of potential. Who's doing the mixing and mastering?" And they told me they couldn't really afford; they were just going to do their own. And I
Yeah.
was like, "No, please let me find someone for you. I'll even pay for it."
Oh
Like,
wow.
because the song has a lot of potential, and I don't want you guys to put something out and the mix be really bad or something, and then people kind of overlook you. Because unfortunately, with music, that's how it is.
Sure.
You put your first couple things out, and if you know if the sound quality's bad or the songwriting's lackluster or whatever, like people really hold your first release against
Oh sure. Yeah.
like not against you, but they hold you to that first release, and if it's bad production or whatever it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
you might stray people away. And so I was like, no, man, like let's get this mix done. Whatever. It wasn't a crazy good mix. If you listen to the song, it's not the world's best mix, but it was better than what they had at the time.
I gotcha.
And so kept going. For the however many years Cody's had it going now. I want to say 5 years.
Nice.
And then finally it hit a point where the band was kind of getting traction with Father Hog. I had still been talking to Cody in the background. There was a lot of stuff like a lot of demos ready to go,
Yeah.
but they weren't really being focused on. And so I stepped in on bass. Um, well, we're talking about the origin story. I mean, basically, it's just Cody pushing, and then it hit a point where like the band was getting traction, and he had a full band.
Nice.
I joined in on bass. One of the guitarists at the time was in other bands too,
Okay.
and just I had been in the band for like 2 months, and nothing was really happening, but we were still gaining like a lot of traction because of the one song.
Okay.
And so that was whenever we kind of like had a meeting, and it was, hey, we're not trying to wait anymore. Cody's had the project going for 4 or 5 years at this point. Like he's trying to like go. So that's when we dropped the other guitarist. I switched over to guitar, and we put that first EP out, and then it's just kind
Wow.
of been history from there.
So he has been kind of relentless on this. So it's something he started up several years back,
Yep.
and something he's been kind of pushing and pushing forward. So how did you guys become friends? So now you said he reached out to you.
Me and Cody had been friends through mutual friends
Okay.
for a few, like, well, I want to say like a year or two.
Okay.
And a couple of the other guys from the Central Arkansas scene, we were all in a group chat together, and we were going to do a project called Saw, and it was just like a fun
I got you.
deathcore thing.
Very cool.
And it just ended up kind of not working out. Everybody doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And Cody would hit me up on the side, and he's like, man, I really want to do something with you. I really want to do music, really want to do music. And as we talked when I got here, a lot of the times, especially for me now, I'm really jaded towards most musicians. Like I can be, I try to not let it like affect it,
Sure.
but I can be very jaded towards people in this field as far as like, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. I really want to do this, but they have no like resume, so to speak.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, sure you do, and so does everyone else that's ever wasted my time. So for me personally,
Yeah.
there's like a buffer period where like I really need to see someone grinding it out, like
Oh yeah.
because I have done it for
Yeah.
10, 15, years now. So it's
Yeah,
like
for real.
for me, I know the effort that I'm going to put in. I know what I bring to the table as far as creative and, actual like practice location, studio, and all that. So, like,
Sure.
for me at this point, I'm very reserved with working with new people or bringing new people into my projects or joining new projects or whatever, just because, like, I've had my time wasted a lot, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
a ton.
Oh
And
yeah.
so with this, it was like, I love you, Cody. I think the band's tight. And for a while, he, wanted to join. It's like, it's not for me right now. It's
Sure.
like, it's
Sure.
nothing against you. I just have other projects that I'm really trying to push, and
Right.
I couldn't focus on more than one. And then whenever Gorepig started gaining traction, and Cody was sending me the demos, and
Yeah.
at this point, you're talking 3 or 4 years of just consistent, like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, but also followed up with putting releases out, dropping merch, literally doing. Cody was doing for Gorepig what I was doing for a lot of my bands, which
Yeah.
was essentially everything.
Doing
You're
it.
coming up with the merch
Yeah.
designs, you're writing the music, you're talking to producers to get the stuff produced, you're networking, you're promoting, like, and not that it's a bad thing, but you hit a point where whenever only one person's doing all that,
Oh yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
one person can get
Jaded.
jaded to it, and it becomes not fun. And so because of that, I say all that to say it took me a couple years of seeing Cody push it to be like,
Right.
okay, I can tell you're actually about it. And yeah, I mean,
Well, there's a lot to say for perseverance. As a
Yep.
ton to be consistent and to kind of keep pushing even when you're not seeing results. There's always something that's been kind of that's stuck with me. I don't know how true it is, and people can fact check whatever, but I don't know. There's certain things that kind of stick with me that kind of like maybe it sticks with me now. Even like making music is like there's this like thing people. I don't know what it takes to grow bamboo, but I swear somebody said one time they said you plant the seed and like you plant it in the soil, but you water it like I think they said like 6 months whatever. And you don't see any
Yep.
results, and then one day that thing just like shoots through the soil and starts
Yep.
growing. And I think it does take. There is no shortcut for hard work. If you want, you get out what you put into it, and you do seize opportunities. Obviously, when they do arise.
Yeah. And well, to that, it's kind of like it made me think of I know it's the cliche, but it's, luck isn't anything except hard work and preparation, like, or hard work preparation meets good timing. That's what luck is.
Oh, there you go.
Like, it's something like that. I'm probably butchering the quote, but
no, it makes sense.
yeah, like, with music, there's a lot of people that tell you like, oh, you need all this luck, you need all this, and it's like, well, you can't climb a ladder you're not standing on, man. So like, if
Ouch.
you're not if you're not writing music and putting it out and promoting and doing everything you can to like get your music out in front of people, like, how can you mope and say like, oh, well, I'm just not getting lucky? Well, Gorepig's luck was the TikToks blowing up. But if we weren't consistently putting out music and posting on TikTok and having a social media presence and writing and working in the background, when those TikToks did blow up, it wouldn't have done anything because we would have had no material to go into that hype with. Whereas we had an entire EP ready. And so it's like, again, luck is just preparation and hard work meets good timing, and that's all it was. I mean,
I agree with that 100%. I mean, I always tell my kid, I go, man, it's like, preparation time is never wasted time, because when the time does come, because there is a lot of unseen stuff. You're going to see a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and setbacks and everything else, and all the things, all the disappointments and whatever that kind of, like all the expectations that have hit the ground,
mechanical issues.
Mechanical. By the way, how's the band doing?
3 weeks in the shop now. I hope to God I get it back tomorrow, man. I'm ready to get back to work and make some money. Yeah, I mean, all the things that you're saying, man, and it all comes down to, again, kind of what we were talking about before we started the actual podcast is, a lot of people want the positives from being a musician and being in a band. And I don't knock on anyone. If you want to do things at a local level and you don't care about trying to be professional and you're just jamming out with your buddies, I'll never hold it against you at all. Like, I'm all for people just doing what they want to do and having fun. But, as someone that does want to do it for a living, and at the very least, like, to the highest level that I can, there are a lot of things about this lifestyle and touring. And, I've only been on one actual tour now, so I'm not trying to speak like a vet. But there's just a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day when the money that you make relies on your band.
Oh, sure.
That, if I'm having to convince you to come to practice, if I'm having to convince you or motivate you to write, if I'm having to, ask you to do things a million times over, if I'm having to ask you to learn techniques, or if I'm having to basically ask you to be passionate about what you claim to be passionate about, when we get on the road and the transmission breaks down, how much help are you going to be? When we get out on the road and we get to a show and, God forbid our in-ears aren't working and we have to just run the set off the drummer. Am I going to be able to rely on a person that's not super, 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 super passionate about it to be able to just put their best foot forward and send it, So, I could go in more in depth, and the list that I sent you about tour tips.
That makes 100%. And I think there's something I was reading through the tour tips, which are good, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you.
One thing that really kind of stuck out to me was just don't forget, kind of going back to the roots of why you're doing this in the first place, and just be good friends, right? Be good friends
and be a good person.
Be a good person, yeah.
So, I mean, man, I'll speak on that because my bandmates will tell you I'm sometimes, most of the time, kind of the first one to get upset, and show that I'm upset. But it's usually warranted, I feel like. But the thing is on the tour, what I learned was, and it all comes back to being a good person, it's like, okay, man, I'm upset about something. That's fine. What is so-and-so upset about? And if I can put what I'm upset about aside and help him focus on his, it's going to make him feel better.
Yeah.
And then it just goes full circle. And then everyone feels better. So it's more so, that's why I say be a good person instead of just be a good friend. Because sometimes being a good, you love your friends, but it's like, I want to smack this dude right now because he's being annoying. But sometimes it's like, you know what? Billy, I love you. Billy needs his energy drink first thing in the morning. You can't wake him up. You can't rush him. You got to let that man wake up on his own.
Right.
You got to let that man do his thing.
Right.
And until he's had about half of a bang, just don't talk to him.
Right.
But you learn those things, and then you no longer butt heads at 8 a.m. Doing changeover. You just.
Well, I think you talk about things.
Love you, Billy.
I feel the love, Billy. There you
Yeah.
go. But no, that's so important. I think it's just common decent things. Just I think emphasis on being a good person.
Yeah.
Because I've started this book on it's an old book, and it's by Dale Carnegie. It's like how to win friends and influence people. And he talks about like things we all know. There's nothing new. It's just like about just really knowing a person, really listening to a person, that there is no like these ulterior motives, but you're really truly invested and genuinely want to be good to the person you're talking to, or that you're in a business with, or whatever, because it's good for you, whether you're like a leader or a boss, or whether at work or whatever.
Hmm.
Your productivity and your morale and everything's gonna be so much higher if you just kind of know the other person. Like, there's just like you said, like their ticks or their things, and because we all have them,
Yeah.
right? It's
And when you're
I
in
want
a,
everybody, I want everybody to be merciful to me when I'm having my episode, but it's really it's really hypocritical of me not to be a little graceful
yeah,
with other people.
and you learn that, man, especially being in a van, even though it's a 15 passenger, you learn that being in your 5-way marriage in a 15 square foot apartment on wheels, like you learn each other's ticks, but again, what we're both saying still rings true. You still have to care about that other
You
person,
got to,
because
man.
if you're in a band full of strangers, man, like again, Billy, I love you. If me and Billy weren't really good friends and I didn't have love for the dude in my heart, when we did butt heads, I wouldn't want to be so compassionate and understanding,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
same thing for him. Like when I do something that gets on his nerves and he wants to come talk to me about it, it's like, if you didn't love me, you wouldn't do that. You would just bottle it up and then we would just fight and probably never talk again. That's normally how those things go.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
But when you love someone, you get into it, you butt heads, you humble that ego ASAP, and then you hug it out.
The
So
faster the better.
exactly, man, exactly. And that was the thing too. I want to say this, Billy. Anytime me and Billy did get into spats, I mean, it was 2 minutes and we'd be hugging. So,
Yeah.
it's all part of it.
I always heard somebody say, "Hey, brothers fight."
Yeah, they
Brothers
do.
fight, so that doesn't mean anything but brothers fight.
Yeah.
And I always I remember from elementary school, I remember this one kid, man, who picked on me and everything else, and this was terrible to me, but something happened. I don't know what it was, but after it was all said and done, I don't know if it was him picking on me or me kind of sticking up for myself and telling him
Hmm.
or whatever, our little argument or our little feud. After that, we were great friends.
Yeah.
I was that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, some of my best friends in the Marine Corps were dudes I'd butt heads with. Just you find that common ground.
That's awesome because now, you're a vet. You said you're in
Mhm.
a band full of vets too.
Well, yeah, Gorepig's 3 out of 5, Fleshbound's 4 out of 5.
Okay, so we have two, and I love it. We got Jacob and Corey,
Hmm.
and it's awesome, and I love those dudes, and I'm always I mean, uh, I think Corey Ward does work at the VA. Now, do you do work that's military related, or
No, I do have a social work degree though. I just got my bachelor's in social work in May.
no way?
Yeah,
Awesome,
and I was working at the Beck Center on campus
awesome. Okay,
with vets.
okay.
And if I do, well, if/when I end up using my degree, that's what I want to do is work with vets.
Oh, very cool, very cool, very cool,
Yeah.
very cool. Well, I appreciate, man, your service and everything. It's awesome. I'm
Oh,
so
thank you.
stoked. The people I run into who are in bands who are vets. I'm it's not. I think it's just all the black T-shirts and the tattoos, and I go, I don't see vet, but man, but once you kind of the dudes I have in my band are super Corey is kind of I don't know who is this guy in your band, but Corey is this guy who can flip something right to the positive real quick, to because to keep morale up
Yeah.
type of thing,
Yeah.
Because I was so super hard on myself on this messing up my solo at the show, and he was the first one. And even during the set, I could see his eyes in video just being this person, a person who is yo, just stick with it. We're gonna get it. And at the end, he's this guy that telling you to keep his chin up
Yeah.
during the whole time. So you need those guys. I thought I was a positive guy, but I tell you, Corey just he outranks me as far as
It's
that
different when the
concerned.
situation's really stressful to
Yeah, it's
be
like
that
it's
positive.
like
Yeah.
man, but and I'm glad we have those guys. But anyway, I got off track. But anyway, that's why thank you for your service and everything
Yeah.
else.
Thank you.
Man, dude, that's awesome. I have a social. Well, I don't have a social. I have a master's in social work.
Yeah. I thought you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was a psych bachelor's, but and I'm trying to get licensed and everything
Yeah.
now. But
I got my bachelor's in social, and I got a minor in social work, and I got a minor in sociology.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you just graduated recently,
Yeah.
huh?
In May. Yeah.
Dude.
Yep.
Oh,
I had to finish the last 2 semesters of school with all the Gorepig hype going on. It was killing me, man. We were turning down opportunities and just like it was killing me, man. I couldn't not finish my degree. I had 2 semesters left.
that's awesome,
Yeah.
though. That's really good. I mean, now how? I know he came off from the tour. I know we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. But how did you fall into this like tour? 'Cause this is a massive month-long
Yeah.
tour. Like, how did that come
So,
about?
again, luck being hard work and preparation meets good timing. The guy that booked us on it, Keith, the vocalist from the Convalescents, he's actually now our booking agent. Shout out Keith.
Nice.
Shout out the Convalescents. I love you boys. But he had actually been bending Cody's ear in the background for pretty much the whole existence of Gorepig. Like, hey man, I want to play a
Oh,
show with you
wow.
guys. Because Keith's just kind of always liked the music. And then last year it blew up, and Keith had been consistently hitting Cody up, and we were like, you know what? He's been wanting to give us a shot the longest, so let's do it. And it was dope, man.
So, like, are there bands like you talk about the Convalescents? Are there been bands that you guys have kind of been like tight knit with? Have you guys have kind of like befriended her or have befriended you
Yeah,
throughout?
yeah.
So who has been like who's been those bands that kind of been like? Obviously, it sounds like the Convalescents is one of those bands, but
Monochromatic Black was another band on the tour. Just another band full of great people. I mean, just both bands are full of great people. I mean,
awesome.
the whole tour was dope, man. Hanging out every night with them was great. I would say
So these are not new guys. These are like all friends from like the past.
no. We met these guys on the tour.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
and
okay,
they're
okay,
just dope people. I mean, you spend
cool.
a month with them, and you kind of really get to learn them.
Okay,
Know them anyway. But
awesome.
the Sea of Treachery guys were also dope. We only got to spend like a week with them, but they were pretty cool too.
I got you.
As far as other bands and just like, I wouldn't really. I don't know, man. I don't like to feel like I'm name dropping because I don't
Oh
want
no, I
to
mean
seem like I'm trying to feel cool. But
no.
the tour that we were actually setting up in the background before the Convalescence one came along was actually us. It was us, Heavy Hitter, and I want to say God Hand, but then God Hand ended up not being available,
Okay.
and so we were. Man, I feel bad because I can't remember this other band's name.
Oh no, you're good.
But we were gonna bring out them, and then our agent at the time just kind of she had something going on and couldn't do it. So
Okay.
then Keith hit us with that offer, and that's where we went.
Well, nice man. That's awesome. How was like? Now, obviously, you got fans. Can you describe like were you okay? You're rolling up first show of the tour. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah. So the first show of the tour was actually the Toledo Death Fest,
Okay.
which is, I mean, for their area, it's like the biggest that type of festival there is. I mean, there was hundreds of people there, dude.
Awesome,
It was
awesome.
the entire day, start to finish, packed. Like people at the merch tables, just all day. Man, it was nuts, man.
Wow.
Indoor, outdoor stage. Like every time a band finished, everyone would go check the other band. Like it was nuts, man. So we pull up back of the parking lot. Nerves are high because not only is it the first date of the tour, but it's my first tour that's this long. It's my first time playing here, and it's a festival, and it's already packed, and doors ain't even open yet.
Wow, man.
So, man, we're loading in gear. We actually got to hang out with the guys in Visceral Disgorge. Shout out Visceral Disgorge.
Awesome.
They were insanely cool. Like we just chatted, and they told us, like for endorsements, this, and they just gave a lot of really good advice for touring and stuff. And
cool.
By the time doors opened, man, it was like we were so locked in because of how cool everything was at that point that the nerves were kind of gone, and you rip the set and go sell merch.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was nerve-wracking though, man. Like it was really nerve-wracking.
Well, I'm always curious about like that, this like okay, this And that there's a lot of first, like, I'm like, I think that'd be the same exact way. I'd be
Yeah.
like, uh, first tour, you know, probably the city I've never ever, because you started off, you guys were in Toledo.
Yeah.
That's what you said and everything else. But I'm like, that's what kind of where I would kind of be at. Um, but did you guys get a chance to kind of like, which I'm sure you have. I don't know why I'm asking this question. When you were running into people who have kind of listened to you guys, how was that for you guys? Obviously, you're at the merch table. There are kids coming up and
Yeah.
people coming up who are fans.
It
Like,
was insane, man. Like
I mean, yeah,
it's indescribable. I mean, I've I've played plenty of shows where people come buy merch and they're like fans of the music,
sure,
but it's different whenever they have been fans of your band and they're just seeing you live for the
yeah,
first time. It's like that's totally different because I've been there, and it's like you go and they put on a good show and the band is nice. You're just like, holy shit. It's like,
yeah.
it's a completely different experience. So, I mean, it was nuts, man. I mean,
And they know who you are. I mean, it's like
yeah.
you obviously you're going to all these dates and like you're way out in Phoenix for crying out loud and everything, and people are like,
I had someone come up to me in Phoenix and go, "Hey, Uncle Bill," or he said, "Hey, Uncle Bill, what's up, Bubba?" I was like, "What?" Like, because I made that like joke video promoting the show or whatever, and yeah, so it was like not only that, man, but like shout out Cody. Cody ran the merch table because that's what vocalists kind of do for the most part. So after we would get off, he'd go straight to the merch table and
nice.
we'd pack down gear. And so a lot of times we would miss the like brunt of the people coming to the merch table, but every day we'd come up and he'd be like, "Man, it's so crazy." And I mean, people wanting pictures and autographs and the wildest experience we have. And I don't think this lady will hear this podcast, but if she does, shout out to you. She came to the Ground Zero date and was just freaking out. I mean, she wasn't drunk. She wasn't on anything. Like she was just very, very excited to see Gorepig. Like it was, oh my God, oh my God. And, for the first couple, you're like, all right, she'll calm down.
No.
The whole night, bro. Even we took pictures with her. We hung out with her. We talked to her. We hugged her. We talked to her and her husband. I mean, we sold them merch.
Wow.
Like, we hung out with them for probably 30, 45 minutes. And the whole time, man, she was just starstruck. It is so weird.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't even know how to act.
I don't know how. That's my first thought. It's like I don't know what to do with that for 30, 45
This was me.
minutes. Oh yeah, you were yeah, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like, I'll give you as many hugs as you want. I don't know what to do other than just say thank you.
Uh, well, I don't. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know if I could be able to handle that for 30 to 45 minutes. But
was a
still, at the
lot.
same time, though, you can't help but to be like flattered
Appreciative.
and humbled and
Yeah.
appreciative. as
Yeah,
well.
man. Because I know what it's like to feel that way about a band. And
Oh, I do too.
it's, if that was genuine, and I'm sure it was, it's just insane.
Have you ever been? Have you ever like this band and you're like super disappointed? Because you mentioned, I love that you mentioned that the vocalist works the merch table, right?
Yeah.
So you said that, and I remember remembering I was talking with Chuck Jeffcoats a few episodes ago. Like we went up to Cornerstone and we see all these bands and everything, and there was like Andrew Schwab. Andrew's not going to listen to this podcast, but anyway, like he was like the singer for Project 86, and I loved this band. It was like back in the late 90s. Loved this band, loved. And I go up to the merch table, worst experience.
He's just
Yeah,
being a
just a
douche.
total douche
Man.
and everything else. I'm like, in that instant, like a total your total opinion changes.
So I want to speak on that actually because I had my thoughts on that too, my opinions, because
and this is years ago, by the way.
yeah, and I'm not gonna name any names because the guys that I would name are currently active, but actually I will name it. I don't care because after the experience I had, I think differently, and shout out to the guy I'm talking about because he was right to be upset, and he's not gonna listen to the podcast. It doesn't matter. We opened up for Signs of the Swarm a couple years ago, and their vocalist was just rolling a blunt on the sidewalk in front of Vino's, like just to the left of the main door, like
Okay.
just on the sidewalk rolling. No one's a fool there. Everyone knows that people smoke, like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
knows that people are doing that at the shows, But when you're in a state that's not rec and you're doing it 2 feet from the entrance of the business,
Right. Right.
come on, man.
Right.
Like, who?
Right.
I don't, come on, man. That's all I can say to that. It's like, come
Yeah.
on, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta use this sometimes. Use your noggin. So I remember for the whole show, he was just upset, and he was just like, "Where are we? This place is this, and blah blah blah." And I remember just being like, "Why is this guy
Dude.
being a baby about this?" But now that I've been on essentially a month long run on the road, I can tell you, man. Sometimes, dude, you just don't get any sleep. Like sometimes you just get 2 hours of sleep, and it is the worst sleep, or
Right.
you didn't get any sleep because you just toss and turn, and then you're at this venue and it's nonstop. You load in, you're there, you don't have a choice but to be around people. So not giving anyone any sort of an out, but there
Yeah.
are bad days, man. Like, and it's
Yeah.
hard to, when you're that stressed out and you've been out that long and you're that far away from home, sometimes it's just hard to hide it, man. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'll say.
Yeah. And I've had this like the same thing happen like with me. Even even on that situation too, because like it was a deal where because the initial response was like, "Yo, man, that was just absolutely disappointing," you
Yeah.
know. But then you kind of look back after a while, and even like I don't know how long it took, but eventually I realized like, dude, everybody has bad days. Everybody has bad days,
Yep.
and sometimes you can't be your best like every single day. It's not gonna be home runs all the time, you
But
know.
to that, you shouldn't be at the merch table interacting
No,
with fans.
no. Even if he wasn't feeling it that day, but it's just like, dude, sub somebody in there, man, because
Yep.
because something happened, but it does like it just kind of bleeds over onto like, especially people who kind of paid money
Mhm.
and they're wanting to come to your table and buy merch.
And they're the sole reason you're able to do what you're doing. I mean, when you get down
Exactly
to
right,
it.
yeah.
And I'll say this too: we learned our lesson about vocalists at the merch table. You don't want to do that. Ideally, you want to have a merch person or a dedicated musician that runs it after, because your vocalist is going to lose his voice. Like it's going to be, that's
Yeah,
what's going to happen. And
true.
you build up that stamina, and I'm sure over time it won't be a problem. But we learned pretty quickly that after Cody gets off stage, he just needs to sit and not talk at all. Just drink some water and play on your phone.
All right, Lonnie,
Yeah.
you're out now. I mean, so I'd be like,
You're welcome, Lonnie.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, to be honest though, man, like to that though, the whole meme of vocalists don't do anything, it better just be a meme. If you're in a band and you're letting your vocalist not help, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh, yeah. Lonnie, yeah. Lonnie, you're good, dude. You're
Yeah.
good. Dude.
Step it up, Lonnie.
Yeah. I was telling them today, I'm so thankful for you guys, man. Because sometimes I think, you go for a little while and you haven't talked to people. You're like, I just want to let you guys know. I appreciate you guys, your hard work
Yeah.
and everything else because, anyway.
Just being in a band with adults is so nice, man.
It is.
It's so nice. We all game together every day, and I mean we hang out every day together pretty much. Like
Awesome.
it's on Discord, but we're gaming, hanging out, sharing the cams, sending each other memes, whatever. And we're very, because a lot of us are vets, it's very like love you, bro, and it's very like say it back, like
That
it's
type of
very,
thing, yeah.
and we all do love each other, and it is all very like it's family, like
And you guys are all photogenic. I just want to say.
oh yeah, thank you.
Let's go through. Let's go. Yeah, I was like, I want to make sure like I'm on point, today for the pod. I'm just going through these. I was like, these guys are photogenic, man. I don't know who the photographer is, but that's like, it doesn't matter.
Evan killed it. Shout out
they're
Evan.
just all good looking dudes. So Evan, like, I don't think I got a chance to really meet. I don't know if I had a chance to meet. I don't know, but anyway, like, I feel like I know Evan.
Evan Holcomb. He's young, man. He's from around here.
How old is he?
18.
18?
Yeah, he just graduated high school.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah, we I found out about Evan through his band on YouTube. I found one of his bands on like a Slam Worldwide post, and I was like, "Valuable? What in the world? Jonesboro? What the?" So I started looking it up, and I found him. And when I initially found the band, I want to say he was like 17 and
What?
a senior. And I hit him up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm still in high school." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Man, stay in touch with me. If you want to come track, I have a studio. Like, I'm totally down to collab because I mean, it was a really solid project. He's got good vocals." and stayed in touch. And then this tour came up, and I remember him telling me he did photos, and hit him up, and we all decided like, yeah, let's do it. And he's
Yeah,
great, man. I
yeah.
love Evan.
He offered to do photos for, I think, the show at Cregan's, but it was like, no, not the show at Cregan's. I think offered to do pictures at Metal Fest. I just didn't know how it worked. I didn't want to come off rude, Evan. I just didn't know how it all worked and
No, a lot
everything
of
else.
times with that, you just pay the photographer, and
I don't know.
it's
Yeah,
like a separate thing. But yeah, no, he worked for a couple bands up there. But yeah, man, man,
that's awesome.
lot of funny stories surrounding that kid on tour. It was just
Well, yeah, that's what it was because like I was on the way. We were on the way to do the show on the first at Cregan's,
yeah,
and I think he started messaging me about something. I forget what it was. We were talking. Shoot, I need to go back my messages. Anyway, I was so unbeknownst that he was with you guys. You
yeah.
know, is like because you guys were broke down. I was like, hey man, you should like come out to the show or whatever. And he's like, I'm in here in North Carolina with
Yeah.
with Gorepig. I'm like, oh well, I guess that'd be a big ask for you
Yeah.
guys to come.
Me and him were the last two out, man.
Are you for real?
Yeah, we were because he quit his job when he left, so he wasn't going back to a job, or he was, but they understood the situation.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was like, "Hey, man, I've got to be back at work on Monday." Like, sorry, and I don't have a job right now, so I was like, you know what? It's my vehicle. I'll stay, obviously. And then Evan actually stayed with me for like an extra 2 days almost. So we had a good time though. We had a good time.
That's awesome. Well, so were you guys were just like were you guys like hoteling it, or you
Yeah.
guys knew anybody out there? Okay.
Yeah, we limped to one hotel when the van started having troubles, and then the next day limped it to another one that was like another town over. 'Cause
Oh wow. Okay.
figured there'd be more mechanics there. And yeah, man, just hung out in a Holiday Inn for like 3 days.
Shout out Evan, man.
Yeah, love that guy.
His name's come up several times.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's booking shows and stuff here too now, so
He
he's
is?
getting really active. Yeah,
Ev- Wait, he might be responsible for this one coming up on the 12th.
yeah.
I don't know if
pretty
it's
sure.
him. I don't know if it's him and Chase working on this one with we're supposed to be playing with the band called Through Blood. Through Blood from Conway.
I don't.
I don't
know if he's
know.
doing that one,
I don't know if he's okay. I don't know if he's
but I know
not.
he's booking one right now.
Is he really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about this. What's going on? What's this America's Top Hitmaker thing, man? This is cool, man.
I really don't even know. That's something that Cody hit the chat up whenever we made it into the top 50 or whatever, and he was like, "Yo, I signed us up for this a long time ago and forgot about it." And we were like, "All right, cool," And so we just started pushing it, and we've had a couple people donate to vote. And listen, shout out Rolling Stone. I think it's a cool thing you're doing, but let's keep it real, keep it a buck, call a spade here. Anything where you're allowing monetary donations to vote,
Right.
come on, man.
Right.
Like,
I didn't know that was happening.
I'm not putting too much stock into it. It's like you donate to charity, but you can vote, and then they do this like, oh, double votes. And so I've had a couple family members drop like $100 on it, and every time they send me the screenshot, I'm like, don't do that, do not do that. And they're like, why? And I'm like, listen, I very much appreciate you. I know it's coming from the kindness of your heart. Don't do that, because
Yeah.
calling a spade here.
Right.
Whoever wants to win is just going to donate a ton of money to somebody
Yeah.
to vote for them. So
That's
we're
what's
not
going on.
encouraging anyone to donate money. If you're doing the 24-hour voting, it's awesome. I think it's dope that we've stayed in it to this point. But I'm not for anything
I
like
had
that.
no idea, man.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay.
You do your free vote, and then they're like, "Oh, $10 get you 10 votes," but right now it's 20, and it's like,
Uh,
no, I'm good.
I'm on to you, Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So it's
I'm
cool,
on to
and
you.
if it all pans out and whoever wins, I wish them the best of luck and congratulations. But to me, as soon as I can pay to vote, I'm not taking it that serious.
I don't blame you, man.
I've been at this for a while. I know how that stuff goes.
Yeah, I'm on to you guys. Well, I had to ask. I've noticed there's been like a couple bands.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing that thing.
Hey, shout out to them. It's a good thing. It gets some attention, but again, it's the pay to vote. You lose me.
How did you guys get hooked up with Jared from Head PE?
Oh, Cody just sent him an email.
What?
Yeah, we were talking in the chat one
That's a
night.
fad. That whole email thing's a fad. It will never catch on.
No, dude, we were talking in the band chat, and he was like, "Man, this song sounds like a Head PE song, like or something like that." And we were like, "Send him an email, see if he'll guess." And he looked up his socials, and oddly enough, like a week or two before, he posted like, "Hey, I'm open for work. If you've got something that I think's cool, let's work." He sent him the track, and he loved it. He was like, "Man, this is sick. Like, let me get
No
your
way.
number." Yeah, like him and Cody still texting stuff. Like it's pretty cool. It's insane. You know that guy's like 60, like 65, I think.
He does
Still
not.
touring.
He does not look like it.
Doesn't sound like it either.
He
Still
does
got it.
not.
Yeah, still got it.
I saw that dude. I was in Tulsa at the time, actually. And that was, man, that was a really good time. I was in Tulsa in 2000. That was a really good time for music. I thought, like, 'cause Tulsa had a really nice, I forget what the radio station out there was. I think it was called The Edge or something. And I remember, like, I was really kind of, I don't know. I moved out here. I moved out there from like Paragould, Jonesboro. I had to get out of Dodge, so
Yeah.
that's where I kind of hung my hat. And I still listen to like what I listen to, like this hardcore and things like that. But like I started kind of just, it's kind of one of those things where I'm just down for whatever sounds good. And I only had like one friend out there, so there was no like
Yeah.
whatever. And so anyway, I ran into like I started listening to like that's when like Linkin Park was popping off, and then there was a show coming up with like Head PE and like POD and like and Project 86, whatever. It's at the Canes Ballroom in Tulsa,
Mm.
and that's where I first saw them. I was like,
I bet that's wild.
it
I've
was
never
a
gotten to see him
wild show.
live.
Like for some reason, Sonny and Jared were not getting along on that tour. I could just feel there was like this tension.
Yeah.
They would all make these comments during sets, like there's something. Guys, can we just keep it all private, please?
Go box in the green room and come back.
But I thought they were really good. Like I was really like into like DJing at that time. 'Cause I was trying to be in like this new. I was like trying to be in this like. I was in this band. I don't tell a lot of people about it because I just don't come to mind. But like this, like we are kind of going for like the whole new metal vibe. I was gonna do like keys and I was gonna do like turntables and things like that, samples and whatnot. And man, really talented bunch of guys that just never really like, never kind of set off. You never could find a vocalist. I
Yeah.
don't think of what it was.
That's always the hardest part.
It's hardest part. But anyway, I saw them and I had no idea he was that old because like I was kind of watching. I kind of pulled him up this morning. I was watching some, like he did a podcast. I forget the name of it, but he looked. I had no idea he was that old.
Yeah, man.
He looks fantastic.
We didn't either, and then he sent us the tracks, and we were listening to just the raw, stems he sent, and we were like, "Damn, man, like, holy shit!" And Cody was like, "Bro, he's like 60 something. He's like 62, 63, something like that." And we were like, "What?" Like,
No.
and he's still touring. Like, they still tour. They might be on tour right now, or just got off. One of the two. We're trying to get Chad Gray on a track
Okay,
from Mudvayne.
no
I think it's his name,
way.
Chad Gray, the vocalist.
Really?
I'm not a huge Mudvayne guy, but I like them, and Cody is obsessed with them. So we've emailed them back and forth a couple times. It's not been a no. It's not been a no. It's been we're working on an album. Stay in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, because I that was something we kind of talked about doing, and it's always like, well, who should we? I think we have like, there's obviously people that we want to do that kind of sound good.
Yeah.
But like, I always wonder how that process like worked, everything. Like, I don't know if like, no, they don't have to like go to where you guys are recording or anything like that. They just send over the track or whatever.
Yeah. For that, man, I mean, we emailed him. He liked the track, and he was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll do this." He was like, "These are my rates. Like,
Awesome.
I'll cut you guys a deal because I really want to work on this." And
Nice.
we were like, "Fuck yeah, we were gonna pay you anyway." So the deal was awesome. Yeah.
So the response was good, and I could not believe it when I looked it up and said Dirt Nap featuring Jared. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever.
It's definitely wild, man.
That's
definitely
great.
wild.
That'd be crazy because so did you listen to those guys like growing up at all?
I got into new metal a little bit growing up, but I kind of jumped straight more towards like the metalcore stuff at the time, and then I went straight off the deep end, just right to extreme metals. Just
because you said earlier, Devil Wears Prada was like, boof, you're on that wave.
Yeah,
as soon as like 94 Hours came out,
I jumped right into the Christian metalcore, and then as soon as I found like See You Next Tuesday, and I Wrestled a Bear Once, and any of the crazy like grindcore stuff, Number 12 Looks Like You, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Math, like, and that's when I just listen to everything. I like slam, tech death, brutal slamming, death. I mean, any metal, anything metal. Like if it's got riffs, I like it. Like I'm
Did you ever listen to Tony Danza?
yes, that is one of my all-time favorite bands. Yes, I love Danza.
I remember I was in Memphis. We were at the Caravan in Memphis, and the show was stacked, dude. Like bands I never heard of, but of course, I was always a fan of nights like these, and that Memphis. And then like there was like who was on that show? It was like Tony Danza. Of course, I never heard of them, and there was like Psyopus, and
I love Psyopus. They're
and
good too.
there was somebody else on that show. Somebody's gonna have to help me out, but it was stacked, and I remember hearing them for the first time, and the mind was just blown.
They're and Josh Travis's stage presence is also just insane. Their guitarist, he's just a wild man.
Incredible,
Yeah,
incredible,
I got to see them like 5 or 6 times before they split up, and every time I just love them.
unbelievable. I just cannot fathom this. It's just I don't know what it was with those guys. I think they had like this they obviously had like this aesthetic. It was like I don't know what you would call it. Maybe you'd call it like they're definitely because they're from Nashville, they're from the South, but yet they have at the same time they have like this I don't know what you call it. It's not really a hip hop thing. It's almost like this ghetto fabulous metalcore type thing. Say
Yeah.
they had like all these amazing song titles.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That kind of combining the South.
It was the peak humor song title. Peak, that's everyone was doing that. But yeah, no, I love them, man. I think Josh Travis does not get his flowers for how crazy good at guitar he is. I don't think he really like tries to do a whole lot to promote himself just as a guitarist.
Right.
I think he more just likes playing in bands and making music. Man, he is just
Yeah.
a visionary on the guitar. Like I don't know, he's toasting a bossy level good with his writing. As far as I'm concerned, is just insane.
Oh, absolutely insane. And I mean, I think about the time like you're kind of coming into it, like all those bands, like you mentioned, like those grindcore bands, like there's a thing called like dudecore that's coming out, where they called it like bands like From a Second Story Window and
I
like
love From a Second Story Window was a good
like
one too.
and like Ion Dissonance, like Ion Dissonance, that Solace record for Ion Dissonance is like one of my all-time favorites.
Weren't they the Bud Dwyer Effect? Was that
Yeah,
Ion
yeah,
Dissonance?
yeah.
I like them too.
I was just like, whoa.
Despised Icon, which I mean that's
yeah.
deathcore, but they're so fast. It's like I don't know. I just love metal, man.
That was such a great. I love it, man. That's like a beautiful time where I was not disappointed during that time, like because like there was like a lot of like you go to those classic metalcore shows, like maybe see Haste Today or Evergreen Terrace, but then there's those other shows.
Yeah.
They're kind of a little more like a little more grind, a little more death metal, and
Man, the early 2000s was very like formative for the style that we play, and I'm so glad that I got to like participate and go to shows. Even though I was like a kid and my bands were trash, like it was still super sick to like be there and see those bands, like grow in that sense. Cause like
yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me idolizing the past a bit here, but like I don't know. I feel like music back then was a lot more. I felt like things progressed a lot faster and were a lot more interesting.
That's a good
Like the early 2000s to like early 2010s.
Yeah.
And we're kind of at a point now where I don't know. I kind of think metal's stale right now.
Well,
There's not a lot of bands doing. I don't know.
Well, I want to kind of ask you, like, who is doing something right now that kind of catches your attention that are being like, impressive.
Well,
And-
see,
and
I don't want to say, I don't want to use the word impressive because being able to write and record music in itself is impressive.
Well, yeah.
But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but it's like, it's probably the nostalgia, but it was just like going to the shows back then, the metalcore shows, the grindcore shows, the deathcore shows, the genres were still like really early on.
Sure.
So you really just didn't know what you were going to get checking out bands on MySpace and stuff back in the day.
No.
Whereas like now, you see someone genre, kind of know what to expect when you listen to their stuff. That's
right.
To me, that's kind of.
That's right. I mean, because you had bands kind of like back in that day, like Tony Danza and like Ion Distance. They're kind of like this is back when, yeah, we're kind of watching it grow, right? And it kind of like, but I feel like it's kind of got to a place to where I kind of want something that's kind of like, and there are bands that do that. They're kind of like, they're kind of outside. They're doing something different. Like, you
Yeah.
guys are doing this new death thing. And I've noticed like, I know it's something that's like, this is what you guys been doing. This is what you guys been working on. So it's kind of, it's outside kind of like, because there's some bands right now like metalcore I don't pay attention to, but kind of like you said, kind of gotten kind of stale. And
I
it's
mean, deathcore too,
I
man.
don't, but I don't think because I think you have I think with you guys, and I think this is like a connection. I think there, with you guys, there's like this, there's some roots to where you guys came from.
Mhm.
Like you kind of talking about like listen to the night, like when 94 Hours came out, and that's where kind of like we involved in punk rock and things like that. I feel like sometimes like some of these bands that are not now in metalcore, they kind of are just kind of disconnected from like the roots of metalcore and the roots of like punk rock and that type
I
of
think
thing.
too, man, nowadays it's like because everyone can record at home and everyone can be a professional producer on their own and all these things, it's like I don't know, it's almost like they get isolated. They're only hearing the
True.
stuff that they hear, and then you just start to produce carbon copies of what you're listening to because it's what you like,
Right.
instead of you're writing what you're writing what's fun to you.
Right.
Because like that's the Gorepig stuff for me.
Right.
Like I'm not huge into new metal. Like I like new metal. I like a lot of new metal, but I was never a new metal kid.
Right.
Whereas like Chris and Lucas and Cody and Billy, like all the rest of Gorepig were new metal kids, you know.
Right.
And so for me, I'm just having fun writing this style because
I got
new
you.
metal is weird. You can do really weird off the wall stuff, and you do all like the scatting vocal parts, and it's just it's just fun.
I
And
don't think,
so
and I don't think there's a whole lot of like. I think there's like, oh, there's not a whole lot of rules. That's not, I think sometimes with like hardcore and metalcore things like there are some things which I think hardcore is doing better these days as far as like breaking some rules, kind of like stretching the boundaries. I don't
yeah,
think, and that's why I think like new metal really has been like the most popular like genre for a very long time because they weren't stuck in like this. Oh, we got to do this, and
it's an extremely wide.
yeah, it's extremely wide.
It's just all the influences you want, and that's what I love about Gorepig's music and writing
Just
it and playing it is like live. You have the drum and bass parts, and you see people just like bobbing their heads,
yeah, yeah,
and you have the the scatting vocal parts, and you see people just like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
confused, and
I
we
think a
have
lot
the
of groove is missing
yeah,
sometimes.
like I don't know. I mean,
I like,
I really think new metal is on its way back in right now. There's a lot of like current bands that
yeah.
Left to Suffer, Tala. Um, Man, I was just talking about this band the other day, and I can't remember their name now.
It's wild.
They're gonna kill me because we talked about a bunch of these bands on tour. But there's a bunch of like bands right now that have a lot of traction in the genre, like the metal community or genre, whatever.
Well, Daryl showed me a band called Fox Lake or whatever it was, and they were
Hmm.
like something like that, and I'm like, yo, it's like, and it's so funny because like it's funny, it's so funny how I'll barely miss like some of these bands. Like, what kind of, you kind of share like, you haven't listened to this, and they're like, well, I've been listening to this, whatever, and they're like, I just barely miss like bands like because Daryl was like showing me some bands. I go, how I haven't heard of them,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I would totally, and I totally would. And I think that's because I mean, I mean, I was kind of growing up, not growing up, but I was in Tulsa in the 2000s. I think that was an awesome time to kind of like, because even though I had my roots in like hardcore and everything else, but I was really enjoying like what was kind of going on, what was really fresh, I thought, with like new metal at that time. Because
hmm
it was like, again, it was like the genre, like the bands were so, there's this wide spectrum of bands. Like, for me, crying out loud, to watch like, it was like Head PE, Lincoln Park, and POD like all on the same show. I'm like, that's pretty wide.
I love it because it's a genre that does not take itself serious.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
whole thing with new metal.
yeah.
Is it you can have bands like
I
Linkin
agree.
Park that are very serious and
Very
very
serious.
good, very emotional, very like heartfelt, like, and then you have bands like System of a Down where nothing at all makes any sense, and you can tell that it's just a bunch of dudes having fun in the
Yeah,
studio. I'm not even really a System of a Down fan necessarily,
right.
but again, it's just that's what I love about the new metal
Uh,
aspect is it's a
it's
very wide, like for Gorepig, we have the fast vocal parts, we have the drum and bass, we have like the weird, real simple guitar riffs that kind of repeat. But then we also have like slams and breakdowns and
that
riffs,
whole
like
thing.
death metal
No
and
rules, man. No
yeah,
rules.
and I love that.
Have you ever listened to a band called Vane?
Yes, that's actually one of the bands I was trying to remember a
Oh,
while
right, because
ago.
like,
Yeah.
and I think that was one of them. I think maybe it was 2018, 2019. But I was like, when I first heard those dudes, I go, they're breaking the rules,
Hmm.
and I guess that maybe that's what it is really. That I'm really kind of like, I miss the bands are kind of like, because I know myself, I personally kind of get stuck in like, I'm kind of like, you really shouldn't do this. You really kind of stay. In, I don't know what it is about me. Like, I want to kind of stay within like the bounds of this genre or this sound. But being in a band has taught me that you just can't do that.
Yeah.
That's what being in this band has taught me to do. So, but like, and I think Vane when they started like breaking out, they're like, dude, I'm hearing corn riffs,
Hmm.
but this is a hardcore band. Maybe it's not a hardcore band. Maybe it's So it has you guessing.
Yeah.
I go, they have a DJ, and I'm like, okay, they're just like,
Man,
here
that's
we go.
oh
Oh,
man. There's one thing I could tell anybody from NEA or anywhere that's a musician that's like in their own head about music, bro. Just make music. Stop worrying about the genre. Stop worrying about I wanted this to sound this way. Just make music, dude. Just mental and how would you say audiotorial whatever diarrhea. Just get it out there. Like who cares? Like
yeah,
don't sit down with the intention to write the world's greatest hit. It's never going to happen
never
if you
gonna
sit down
happen.
with
Yeah.
that intention. Just sit down, riff. When you get something that's really good, expand on it. When you get to where you can't expand on it anymore, move on.
Oh,
Like,
that's good advice.
yeah,
That's good advice.
just make music. Like,
I remember, and I do give credit to like the band I am now because even years ago I'd write a song and everything, and you go in there and like you have it all in your head like this is how it's gonna sound and this that and the other. But the greatest thing that could ever happened to me was like when they go, well, what if we did this? Is all the what if questions,
mm-hmm,
and I'm like, I just slowly feel like this song is like being ripped, to pieces. But at the same time, it kind of grew into something. It helped me. I always say this all the time now. Like I don't have all the best ideas,
yeah,
and that's the best thing anybody could say ever. No matter what, whether you're making music or being creative or whatever, because or at work or whatever it may be, because you'll never know like what can come. And it took shape into something that was 10 times better than what I could even imagine.
yeah,
And I'm like, and it's like that's that's what it's all about.
yeah.
That's what it's all about. So absolutely. And I was even going to ask you that too. Is like, what advice you kind of would give, to like. We definitely talk about hard work. There is no substitute for hard work, but any other advice you kind of can give, like, to bands in this area? Because I know you have a heart for this area. You want to see bands do
Yeah.
well in this area. So like, what is
Oh man, just I don't know. Always be honest with yourself with where you're at and as an individual and where your band's at, and don't hold that against yourself. If that makes sense.
okay?
It's fine to not be stoked with where you're at. It's fine to not be stoked with how you sound, but what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that negative thought? Are you working to correct that so you don't have that thought anymore?
Right.
Or maybe you're being too hard on yourself. Maybe it doesn't sound bad or whatever. Like, I think a lot
Sure,
of
that's
times
good stuff.
I think a lot of times whenever people hear like hard work, they get caught up on like that. The hard work is not giving up. That's the hard work.
Yeah.
The hard work is doing it when you don't want to do it. That's what the hard work is. Like anything in life, like
Right. Right. Right.
no matter what you're doing, if you're making music or if you're making video games, at some point passion intersects with work and it's going to feel like work and you just got to do it, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
And if you want music to be your life, you got to treat it like that. And that includes just pushing through on the days you don't want to. It is what it is. I'm the worst about being in my own head. Anybody that knows me really well will say that, and they'll probably laugh when I say this. But the best advice is get out of your head, man. Stop
Yeah.
worrying about the thoughts you have about yourself that you think other people are having. Just make music, dude. Who gives a shit? You'll go from being the person that people mock to being the person that people want to talk to and ask for advice. I did that, so
Right.
just keep going. Like, there's no secret. The secret is don't give up, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good advice. And I mean, not giving up and like getting out of your head, right? And everything else. Because that's like exactly what, I've referenced Corey earlier. Because in the second you do that, I was talking to my wife even about that. Because like, she's like, you're totally like robbing yourself? Because I was like totally like, dude, it's just so I cannot believe I did that and everything. And because you play the song like 1,000 times, right? And then they're like, you're totally robbing yourself of like this experience. Like, why even do it? Why, if you're gonna be in your head all the time, why even do what you're doing if you're even constantly gonna analyze? You know what I'm saying?
This is a terrible field for anyone that is
Yeah.
overly critical of
Oh
themselves,
yeah.
and I am king overly critical. And I can tell you that was one of the best lessons I learned on tour too. Is kind of what your wife's telling you, like,
Yeah.
don't rob yourself of the experience, man. You're gonna mess up. That
Yeah.
was one thing I told everybody from the start, and we'll get into it with the tour notes. It's like, you're gonna mess up every show you play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get over it.
Get over it.
That GG. That's it. It no longer even needs to be discussed.
It's gonna happen.
As soon as you accept you're gonna mess up,
Yeah.
guess what happens? You start messing up a lot less.
Right.
A lot less. Like, you would be surprised how much less you mess up when you don't care that you're going to. And then you hit a point where, there were several times in the tour where I would forget to turn my tuner off, and we'd play 30 seconds of a song where there's no guitar, it's just bass, drums, and Cody. And I would look over and be like, fuck. And I'd have to go over, click my tuner off. And, the first couple times it happened, I was very, like, mad at myself and,
Yeah.
like, very, like, just rigid with myself about it. And then finally it happened one night, and I just laughed. And then guess what?
Everybody survived.
It kind of slowly stopped happening.
Oh, gotcha.
And then no one in the crowd ever knew. They were always like, "Oh man, you guys crush!" And it's like, dude, I played half the song with my tuner on. They're like, "How would I know?" So, man, like, I don't know. At the end of the day, bro, you just gotta remind yourself why you do music in the first place, and just
That's good stuff.
keep doing it, because everything feels impossible till it's not. Like, till you're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like anything in life. If I told you we're gonna do 100 push-ups a day, and then right now to me that's a lot because I haven't really been working out that much. But it's like 100 push-ups every day, just throughout the day. You just do 100 push-ups. If you sit there and you think about the 100 push-ups as each individual push-up, and
Yeah.
you're not actively doing them, and all you're doing is thinking about it, it's gonna take way longer. Whereas if you just start, before you know it, you'll be done.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
it's impossible till you're done, and then it's like, wow, it really wasn't even that bad.
That's good advice, man.
I went through Marine Corps boot camp and 4 years of going all over the place and doing a million different things. So I can tell you, man, it still feels impossible till you're on the other side of it. And then you go, damn, I wish I really wouldn't have, say you go on a run.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care about the time. I just want to not stop running. And you make it all the way around your block, and you get to the end of your street and you can see your house, and you let yourself stop. And you stop for 2 seconds.
Mhm.
And then you immediately start running again. You're going to get home and be like, damn, I really could have just kept running.
Right.
I really could have just kept going, and
Right.
and I would have been fine. So it's that. Stuff seems impossible till you're on the other side of it, man. And that's music. If it's your passion, you just got to do it, dude. Who gives a shit? Like, it was a Whose Line Anyway? All the rules are made up and the points don't matter. That's music.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. That's good advice, man. That's good advice. So hopefully, I mean, that's encouraging to me. Sitting across from you and everything, and hopefully, other people kind of take that to heart, and I can say it's true. I mean, even being even my day job, with working with, because when you work with a lot of clients, you think, I mean, it's like a million miles from where I want to be, and you find it 6 months from, you find 6 months later, you see them like they're exactly where they wanted to be at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, you thought this was impossible.
It's just constant pressure. Do one thing at a time, and that's
Yeah.
It's when you're looking at you're making a mountain out of a molehill. They say, hey, you're looking at every grain of dirt. Just start walking. I got a lot of those. What do they call those? This is a little like sayings, cliches, or whatever. But my favorite one is you can't climb a ladder you're not on.
That you said that earlier.
Yeah.
I love that one.
You cannot climb a ladder you're not standing on. So I'm not going to explain to you how to climb a ladder when you ain't even took the ladder off the truck and set it up yet, man. We'll get there when you got a foot on it. That's
well. I mean, I think I want to get before we get to the tour notes. I just want to say I think you guys will be okay. With that kind of ethic, I think you guys are going to be okay.
Yeah, no, man. I love my team. Shout out to all the guys in both my bands. I love all my boys, and I want to take this time now. If you've listened this far, thank you. Both me and Gary, thank you. But also, I've had my studio open to local musicians for years now, and I have had 2 collective bands come through. Well, I've had 1 rapper come through that I still work with. Shout out Kane, who's my boy. And then Service and Breathe came and worked with me one time.
Yeah, they
a
mentioned
long
that.
time ago. Yeah, and it was just that was kind of a whole thing. But at the time, I think they had some members that were just having difficulty scheduling stuff.
Yeah.
So it just took a while to get it done. But they came through, and then I have the rapper that comes through, and like now that I have a really good setup, I have the basement in my house. It's very open, and
Yeah.
I can even do live drums and stuff. Man, I don't have anybody hit me up want to come through. I don't charge anybody anything at all, like at all.
I got Steph sitting here. I just tapped her in the shoulder because we always have ideas. Always.
I have a mixer you guys can have, by the way, too. It's like a 4 or 5 channel mixer. It's basically brand new. I don't use it at all. You can have it.
Oh, word.
Yeah, it'll help out a lot with this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yo,
for sure.
Look at that.
We got microphones, but we can't use it in this mixer.
Yeah.
We got like
It doesn't have XLR inputs.
No,
Nah.
and it's just 2. But we've got another one, but we've got 4 mics here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better mixer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a mixer at my house. I'm pretty sure I have the power cable for it there. But yeah, it'll phantom power them and everything. You guys can just have it. I've had it for 6-7 years and I've never used it.
Where?
Yeah. So please take some of my gear. My wife will be glad that I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, man. I mean, all the music stuff, anything in life, you start college, you don't think you can get your degree, and then you get your degree. So.
Oh, that's the truth, though. That's the truth, though.
Yep.
That's the truth. It's never too late either, man. I always tell people, well, I started my degree when I was 34, man. So, like.
I started mine when I did a semester before the military, a semester right after the military. I took like a 7-year break and went back and I finished my bachelor's. So, hey, we're all on our own journey, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to, now.
We were talking about something before we got into the tour notes.
I don't know.
You said you wanted to talk about something before we got into it. I don't remember.
Oh,
we got distracted on the gear.
We did. Yeah, we kind of got distracted on it. I don't know. We might have covered it. I don't know. Well, I think I was just talking about how, like, I don't have all the best ideas. Maybe that was it.
I was talking about how to open the studio up. Yeah. So,
yeah.
The offer's still out there. If you live in Northeast Arkansas
There you
and you're in a band, or you rap, or you sing, or you do storytelling, or you want to do a podcast and you don't have gear, like, hit me up. Like, let's talk. Like, I have very good equipment. I have a lot of knowledge in there. I'm not a professional mixer and master by any means, but I know a ton of people that do that, and I can get you hooked up with them and get your music sounding pro.
Okay.
Like,
Me and Stephanie will hit you up.
Yeah,
okay.
Literally, please do. I want to work with anybody in this area. Like, I want to help everybody step up to whatever level they want to get to.
Well, that's what I was talking to her about. I just want to go. I want to get like a single out for something. Because we have an idea, like an indie rock type thing. Like we call it Phantom Pains. We want to kind of work on that.
That's cool.
And I have like a really kind of like this nuts and bolts, this hardcore stuff that kind of sounds like this short 1 minute songs. This like
it's right up my alley.
And it's like I just want to do that. It has like a a hip hop aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and sometimes just not having like. I just want to put singles out there. I really don't want to do shows right now. I can't.
That's right up my alley, man. And that's the thing too. Like, the reason why I like try to harp on my offer is like, I don't have a lot of people that work with me right now. So the people that do come and work with me, it will be very intimate. Like, it will be very like, I am there with you. We're there for however long we need to be there. Like, I will help you with the songwriting. I will give pointers on like what I think on production. Like, I will help you find MIDI instruments. Like, we will go as deep as anyone wants to go. And I only have one guy right now that comes to me pretty regularly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Kane? Yeah, Kane. He's only got stuff on SoundCloud right now, but he's really good. Like, I'm the first producer I think he's ever worked with.
Oh, for real?
He's really good. Yeah. So
I've been talking to some guy. I think I talked to Cameron last time. I go, we really need to get like this. We need to do like a crossover, like a hip hop rap hardcore crossover show.
A mixed genre show. That would
be
so fun.
Sweet, bro. Cause my whole thing, my barrier is like, I don't know what hip or what rap artists are in the 870 area. I don't know who they are.
Kane's connected me with a couple of them, so I'll definitely I want to do mixed genre too. And we were talking to him on Friday again. Kane, if you listen, shout out.
Yeah.
He was wanting to get a show and stuff going because after I got back from the tour, he was looking at the pictures. He's like, man, that stuff looks fun. I want to go. And so he's wanting to set up shows. So I'm trying to help him get a bunch of songs done. And I think me and him did like 10 songs together before I started charging them.
No
and I'm only
way.
charging them $50 a song for rap. And
Mercy.
The quality's pretty good compared to a lot of the producers in the area that I've heard that charge like $200 an hour. I'm just saying. So
Mercy.
if you're listening and you're at, please hit me up. I just got a brand new Newman mic too, so I'm upgrading.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna hit Dakota up.
Please do it.
Because even just like, because you have a lot of, even before we even started, like the things you were talking about, just things I never knew as far as like technically, like things I go, I didn't know you could do all that. So you're a good guy to kind of have like to learn from. So I'm definitely down for that. Oh yeah, tour notes. I'm gonna get into tour notes.
Yeah, let's do it.
So a while back, I guess while Dakota was on tour, he sent our group chat some tour notes.
A wall of text. Like a literal wall of text.
Do you want to walk through those?
Yeah, we can go through them.
All right, cool man.
I'll just kind of like quote unquote rapid fire them.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
If we want to harp on one, we can harp on it because there's quite a bit here, and I might even skip some.
Okay, that's fine.
These aren't in any order, but they were all things that myself and the rest of the Gorepig guys felt were pretty good, like tips or notes. And then towards the end, we even asked Evan from a like crew member perspective for some good pointers. So you'll get the band's notes, and then you'll get notes from a photographer's point of view. So, all right. Most bands choose to suffer more than necessary. It's much better to spend the extra money on creature comforts versus partying and drinking. I do want to harp on that one shortly. A lot of bands, when they go out, they, tours a party, tours this, tours that. They're drinking at the bars every night. They're buying food at the bars or venues every night. They're doing this and they're doing that, and then they don't have any sort of actual sleeping arrangements in their van.
Gotcha.
So it's like you're spending $200 or $300 a night as a band, and you're not even getting good sleep.
Right. Don't make any sense. Yeah.
No, man, save your money up front and invest in the creature comforts. Your van needs to be comfortable. Whatever you're riding in, you need to be able to sleep. You need to be able to very comfortably sit for long periods of time, and you need to be able to entertain yourself. Right. So it's so much smarter to invest in your van being comfortable and you being comfortable than you partying every night.
Yeah, so I like it.
And I'm saying that because the bands that we toured with, most of them were renting, or like the Convalescents, they use a bus with no AC, which is fine. They're used to that. But during the summer, when you're trying to sleep, even overnight, it's too hot.
Oh man,
it's too hot. So I really think a lot of bands choose to suffer more than they need to, and maybe it's because me and my bandmates are in our 30s and we're veterans that we think about these things. But you can get good sleep on tour. It's not hard. Get a Planet Fitness membership and shower every single night if possible. And then this aids in cleanliness and health, obviously. But another big thing is it helps with morale and unit cohesion, going back to the Marine Corps there. Yeah, man, a lot of guys are like, get baby wipes, get this. No, get a Planet Fitness membership and go shower, you disgusting creature. Like, oh, my God. And then, too, the whole thing with, like, morale and cohesion. If you're disgusting, you're going to be more irritable. Whereas after a show, if you can go shower and get a good 4 hours of sleep after a shower,
yeah, absolutely,
you're a totally different person. So get a Planet Fitness membership. Don't be disgusting. Deck your tour vehicle out and ensure sleeping arrangements are as optimal as possible for any given situation. Having bunks, mattresses you can take out to bring into someone's home, hotel, etc. Fans, external battery banks, a refillable water source, and a manual pump. Comfortable seating for everyone. This goes back to the first one, man. Your van's your house.
Yeah.
So you need a big thing of water that everybody can go through. You need to have like a trash can. You need to have actual sleeping, like take seats out and build bunks. Don't sleep on the bench seats. It's not comfortable.
Right.
And then for us, our beds are actual memory foam mattresses.
Nice.
And if someone goes, hey, do you want to crash at my house tonight? Boom. 2 full-size beds that we can pull out of there.
That's nice.
Guaranteed 4 people can sleep on beds, and then you only need 1 couch for your band. So
love it.
And it makes a huge difference. Prioritize morale and comfort as much as possible. It helps with literally everything else. I think that's self-explanatory. This one has curse words in it, and I'm going to leave them because I think it's really important. Fucking sleep when you can and fucking rest. Don't try to party every day, and don't try to party every day. It ain't going to happen, and then you'll become insufferable to be around because you're tired and cranky.
Yeah.
When you're on the road, it is your responsibility to rest when you can.
Right.
So if you are getting in the van at the end of the night and you're hyped because of the show, and you're just staying up and co-piloting all night because you're just riding that high, well, the sun's going to come out and we're going to pull up to that next venue, and you're going to be trying to sleep in a venue or in a hot van, like
Mhm.
it's on you, and it's out of respect for everyone else. You need to sleep when you can. Um, driving shifts with planned stops for changeovers so that people can stretch their legs, use the restroom. Um,
Oh yeah.
Plan to add 15 to 20 minutes every 2 to 3 hours. Usually adds between 1 to 3 hours of extra drive time depending on the drive length. That was a game changer. My buddy from Peel and Flesh, shout out Austin, he put me on that. He was like, every 2 to 3 hours we stop for at least 15 minutes, walk around, stretch, use the restroom, whatever. It is a game changer. It makes any insufferable drive sufferable.
Yeah, peeling flesh is like making some waves,
Mm-hmm.
bro.
They're killing it right now. I love those guys.
Yeah.
Have spares of literally everything. Everything. If you can think of it, you need a spare. You need spare van keys. You need spare shoes. You need spare earbuds. You need spare in-ear monitors. You need spare battery packs. You need spare receivers, transmitters, strings, picks. Anything you can imagine, you need a spare. I needed spares for things that I didn't expect I'd need a spare for, like shoes, toothbrush, like deodorant, things you think you'd be able to keep up with. You need. Okay.
It's a good idea.
This is Gary's favorite tip.
That's it. This is.
Buy underwear and socks
Yes.
and throw them away when you're done using them. Trying to do laundry's tough, and those extra undies and dirty socks add up, and they'll stink more than the shirts and shorts will. Go to Walmart, buy a big pack of socks and underwear, and just throw them away when you're done with them.
That's the best.
And to that, recycle your stage clothing, meaning use them as much as you can before you put them in your dirty clothes bag. Get that shirt off ASAP, baby boy, and get it hung up on the back of the van so it can dry out for the next night. You're going to be crusty in 3 days' time, but that's when you change shirts.
I was going to ask you how many shirts you brought on tour.
I was over-prepared. A lot of my bandmates were underprepared. Well, Cody was underprepared. He didn't bring enough socks and underwear. But like the rest of the guys were like really having to rewear shirts, and like I wasn't really having to rewear them that much. I guess I just brought way too many shirts. Having a personal storage system in your touring vehicle is crucial. Don't do like us and constantly lose things to the void that is the van. I cannot tell you how many times I went out and I was like, all right, I need my Allen key set. And I staged this in the right door. I'm going to go get it. Not there. Never there. And it would just always be, where are my Allen keys? Because you're walking around a venue trying to find 4 other dudes, and it's a whole thing. So having storage is really good. Ensure more than one person can back a trailer up efficiently, and any amount of mechanical knowledge surrounding your vehicle or trailer situation is not only beneficial, it's extremely crucial to the comfort and peace of mind if something goes wrong. And then in quotes, this is literally personal insurance and is invaluable on tour. That's self-explanatory.
I cannot back up a trailer.
Just got to rent one in practice.
Yeah. I'm going to have to practice.
You got to, man. Or you got to have at least 2 dudes that can do it.
I'm going to have to.
Okay, well, you're good then. This was a really good one. Have all members do research on overlanding / trucking / van life and utilize any and all information that you find useful. You'll be glad you learned about a lot of it, because a lot of that stuff is the difference between like enjoying your time on the road and hating it. Just like 12-volt versions of this and DC power versions of this and
right.
mini this, and yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that it's a $15 game changer. So
get it.
Spend time with your bandmates outside of doing music and be actual good friends. Self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory, yeah.
It should go without saying, but make sure you have tools, the proper ones, and the knowledge in which to effectively use them. You'll be surprised at what will quickly become a lifesaver on the road outside of the standard tire changing tools. You owe it to yourself, but also your bandmates, to take care of yourself prior to, during, and after tour, including exercising, eating somewhat healthy, and making sure your mental health is also in check. Knowing your own tics and habits can save you a lot of trouble on the road. Knowing your bandmates' tics and habits will save you even more. And I mean, that's self-explanatory, but
sure.
we talked earlier, and you're going to butt heads with your bandmates, so it's better to learn their needs and things, and just avoid them when they're being complicated. A good practice is to always keep your personal belongings contained to your own bags and luggage. For example, when you use something, immediately put it back to exactly where you got it from every single time, or you will lose that chapstick and you will need it in Tucson, Arizona, midday. And that sucks. All the guys in Gorepig ended up with the purses, shoulder bags.
I like those purses.
And get one. Swallow your pride, gents, and get one. It's the best. Air tags, air tags, air tags, air tags.
I love
air
that
tags.
one. That was the best.
And it's written that many times for a reason. Air tags are a lifesaver. The whole tour, anytime that we were packed up and I needed to know if I was done, I just pulled up the Find My app and I saw all of my tags in the trailer and I was like, all right, we're good.
Dude, that is beautiful.
It's,
Does it do that?
yeah. You just pull it up,
Oh
hit Find Mine, and it'll
my.
show you on a map where it's at. It's,
Yes.
yeah.
Wow.
Make sure you have copies of your vehicle key and make sure you pass those out to each member possible. They're still going to come to you for the clicker because you have the clicker, even though they have a key that can unlock the van and they can go get whatever it is that they need with the key that you gave them. They're still going to come get the clicker from you, Cody, because it's the clicker. Okay. If you don't have multiple keys, make someone the designated key holder and never keep the keys from them, ever. Like, to some people out there's some guy right now that's never toured or whatever, and he's like, this guy's harping on the keys. Just give someone the keys and let them be the designated key guy, because all tour long, you guys can't see, but Gary can and his wife. You're going to get this in the venue, and you're going to know that someone needs the keys. So it's better to just everyone know, hey, Dakota has the keys clipped on his bag. If I need them, I go get them from him. So
There you go.
save yourself the trouble. And then I even said, use them and immediately return them to the keymaster or face his wrath. Ask Evan. Buy bolt cutters, big ones, and keep them in the van. That's in caps.
What's the bolt cutters about?
Because people like to lock keys in the trailer. And then you're just having to break a padlock off of a trailer in the middle of nowhere to get your keys out.
I saw that in like all caps. I'm like, this must have happened.
Yes, it did. It actually happened twice. We had the keys got locked in one time, bought bolt cutters. And this happened in Fayetteville. Cut the lock off. Whatever. Well, then we get to Jacksonville or Tampa, Florida, and the key broke off in the lock, and the bolt cutters were in the trailer.
Oh.
And that's why it says keep them in the van. Okay.
Wow.
For the love of God, bring extension cables, power strips, and fans. You need fans, more of them than you think. You're gonna want fans at your merch table. You're gonna want fans possibly on stage. You're gonna want fans in the van when you're trying to sleep. Bring fans, battery powered fans, rechargeable. Plug them into the wall. Doesn't matter.
Dude, yeah, because like Power Play come to play, and they had these fans.
Little floor fans, like little shop fans.
Yeah, and I go, man, if I could learn anything right there, because I hate being sweaty on stage.
Mono had those little floor like shop fans on stage too, and then we had our smaller ones at the merch table, and it's
epic. I love it.
It's goated. Okay. Merch table comfort is also a priority at shows. Bring folding chairs, camping chairs, tables. Make sure you always have seating for everybody that's with you, band and crew. And a canopy's not a bad idea either. We bought like a 10 by 10 canopy.
Yeah.
Never opened it, never needed it, but there were several times where it almost was needed, where it was like, we're playing outside in Arizona. We don't know where they're going to do merch. It might be outdoor, blah, blah, blah. So it's like $100. Invest in it. It's so worth it. And the merch table comfort's big because someone's going to have to sit there all night. So like having actual comfortable seating and like all that it's good.
That's nice.
Because, you think about these things on like a one show basis, all this seems like overkill. But when you're out for 3 weeks
Yeah.
and you're doing it every single night, these little tiny little things of just having a fan at the merch table becomes a very huge creature comfort.
And there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Like, place to place.
Exactly. And them having fans and comfortable seating, there's no guarantee for that ever, or tables. So it's better just to have the stuff. Okay. Ultimately, better to have and not need than need and not have. The things you're used to always being available are not always available. It's so much better to be overprepared than to be another band on the road, miserable for self-imposed reasons. Pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
Everything needs a hard case. Everything. And then I put this in parentheses, and I know Billy knows I'm going to say this, but even your fucking glasses, Billy. Hope you have a head strap for those Oakleys by now. I love you, Big Daddy. All right. He broke a very expensive pair of Oakleys like a week into the tour.
Whoa.
And it was like a whole thing. And we were like, Billy, you don't have the nerd strap to keep them from falling off your face, and you don't have a hard case. Shut up. Love you, though. Go to Harbor Freight and literally buy anything that it seems like it'll be helpful in the dark. the Harbor Freight sells these little headlamps. They take AAA batteries. I've had one for 6 months. I've never had to change the batteries on it. I think it just died on tour actually, and they're goated. On stage, you leave it on. It's on your head.
Yeah.
If you need a light, click it. It's on. You're not sitting there asking someone to hold the phone. Nothing. And then when you're done setting up, you just take it off and set it on top of your
There you
head.
go.
And Harbor Freight just has tons of little stuff that's just like
Beautiful.
clips for your merch or little lights for your merch table or anything. So
That's beautiful.
you're always providing your own amenities on the road. Never expect someone to handle it for you. Even if you're in a band that has a rider, the venue's prepping food, all that, just expect to handle it yourself. So you're never getting there expecting pizza and it's not there. Just expect to handle it for yourself. When you have this is a big one. So when you have drives over 4 hours, just drive through the night to the next town and then sleep. One of the bands we were touring with, Mono, we started to notice that they were getting hotels a lot. Monochromatic Black, they were getting hotels a lot.
Yeah.
And one night we were like, we'll get one with you, So we booked a hotel. Sorry, we booked our hotel for to check in the next day, right?
Yeah.
We finish the show, we leave around midnight. We booked the hotel with them, but they booked a hotel in the town that we played in for that night just to sleep for 4 hours and then check out to check into the other hotel the next day. And I was like, just drive through the night and then you check into the hotel and you get the same amount of sleep, except you don't wake up to a drive. You wake up already in the town. And so you'll get the same amount of sleep if you drive through the night or if you sleep immediately. The difference is when you drive through the night, you get there quicker. There's hardly any traffic.
Exactly.
And waking up where you need to be is way better than waking up and needing to make a 5-hour drive. Just drive through the night.
That's smart.
Someone will get to sleep, 2 or 3 hours, and then whoever drives, you'll get there and you'll sleep. But you're gonna get the same amount of sleep if you get a hotel that night or whatever. Just tough it out and drive through the night. Every single member should have a small shoulder bag. We call them purses. Swallow your pride and rock the shoulder bag. Shit's nice and the ladies love it. Nothing needs to be said. Keys should have a D-ring or some kind of retaining ring on them. Just again, my bag. Even you can see my keys hanging on my bag. It's just the best thing. Not having to look for them. A dedicated tote in your trailer for pantry items, equipment tech items, strings, tools, instruments, etc., and personal belongings makes packing out way easier. Just buy little cheap totes from Walmart. Keep anything in those that you can, and then when you're packing stuff, it's neat and organized and not just a blob.
Not a nightmare.
Bring a ton of batteries, any kind that you would need. Bring a bunch, AAA, AA, D, all of it, because Love's Truck Stop will charge you $18 for four D batteries. I'm not joking. It was $14 for 4 of them.
Oh.
And you need 8 of them to run the fans that they sell. Just so you know, in the fan's $20. I spent $85 on one fan and the batteries to power it. Just so you know. That's why these tips are in here, guys. Label literally everything. Just self-explanatory. Separate merch by sizes and totes and label the tote so you know what's what. And on your off days, organize everything. Organize the stuff that you set on your merch table. Organize your extra merch. Organize everything. Because when you get to a venue, opening the tote and going, hey, this tote's labeled tour shirt 3X through large. Awesome. And then you open it and it is that, and they're neatly stacked, and you can just go, boop. It's so much better than digging through it and screaming at someone to hold a flashlight so you can find a 2X. Just label everything. Your efforts should be focused on the current show and then the next show your efforts should be focused on the current show and then the next show. When you're done working for the day, then you can fuck around. Don't proverbially drop your pack. That's another military thing. Don't drop your pack before the work's done. When you show up to the venue and you load in, the work's not done. When you show up to the venue and you load in and you play the show, the work's not done. When you show up and you play your set, you load out, the trailer's loaded, everything's ready to go, everything's done, then you can go fuck around.
Right.
But you get to the venue and you get in the mindset of it's a party, I'm at a show, blah, 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 and then people are having to hunt you down just to load out gear, or, somebody needs relief at the merch table and you can't find anybody because
that's just chaos, man.
You got a band full of kids they're in that mindset. No, you're working until the work is done. And the work's not done until the trailer has the padlock on it. So
there you go.
Just keep that mindset and then everyone will be happy. It's just better for everybody. You want to add something to that?
No headaches.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm trying to I'm thinking about that in my head. I go, like, when you're not, everybody's scattered and they're like doing their thing. Not that this ever happened, but I can only imagine, like, you're still trying to like load out and get everything back where it goes, and then like, if something comes up where somebody needs something, you're like,
Yeah, like
this.
at a show, this was another thing, like communication at a show. You get there and you load in, and it's like we're done. Well, you're kind of done, so you can go do your own thing, but you need to be intentional about doing your own thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You need to be doing your own thing with a purpose. Doing your own thing's not just getting caught up talking to a group of people for 3 hours and losing track of like, oh yeah, I'm working.
Right.
No, like go do your own thing, go get food, go get a drink, go sit down. But accountability is paramount. I need to know where everyone's at. Everyone needs to know where everyone's at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to get food. Do you guys need anything? No? All right, cool. This is where I'm going. I'll be back in whatever. Boom, cool. We know where you're at. Something happens. We know how to get a hold of you. Know where you're going. And that might seem overkill to some people, but at the end of the day, you're working. You are your brother's keeper. You're at a venue where there's tons of people. Who knows what could happen? You need to know where each other are at all times.
Oh yeah, that's my day job.
Yeah.
Like communication's key.
Communication's key and accountability is paramount. That's what they say in the Marine Corps. It is. You need to know where everybody's at all times. And ultimately, it's just a respect thing. If you've got a guy working the merch table, you need to respect that. He don't just want to sit there the whole night. You need to respect that he might need something. You need to respect that he might need to use the restroom, or he might want some water, or at the very least, he might just want someone to come say, "Hey, man, you need anything?" So, just keep in mind that you're working.
He might need to go to the bathroom sometime during the night.
Yeah, exactly. He might want to go FaceTime his wife, or something. Like, just be conscientious, or whatever that word is. Be conscious of your bandmates and the people around you, and just keep in mind you're working. That's the big thing. We're playing a show. It's fun, but it's work. We're working here.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that with younger bands. They get there and they're just all over, as they're so excited. All right, and this is the last tip from the band. So even after loadout is complete, every single member should do a dummy check prior to leaving. I'll say that into the mic because I kind of set it off. Even after loadout is complete, every member should do a dummy check before leaving. The more the better. A dummy check is just a final check. It's to check to see who the dummy is, and the dummy's who's leaving stuff. So you do your dummy checks. Every member in your band should do a dummy check, and you should do it separately. Don't go together. Go as individuals. All go to separate parts of the venue, and all check everywhere in the venue for everything. Can't tell you how many nights the fifth dummy check found something.
Oh wow!
Like I'm serious because you've got gear in cases and dark cases, and you're in venues where there's no lighting in a lot of the places, and so something just gets set in the corner, and you leave a drum rug, Billy. Actually, someone actually took that. That wasn't him leaving it. Someone took it thinking it was theirs. But stuff just gets set in corners, and you don't think about it. And then the fourth person that goes in after three other people have said everything's good, they go in there and they find like a guitar case or whatever. So do your dummy checks.
Yeah, you don't want to find that out after you've left the venue.
You don't want to get to the next venue and not have your laptop or something. That didn't happen to us, but I'm just saying, like,
right.
You don't want to get to a venue and not have your in-ear monitor system or something crazy because you're just rushing loadout.
And I think everything you're sharing, really, it's really to like it's a preemptive strike. It's a preemptive strike on stress.
Mm-hmm.
Like no stress. All this stuff is to kind of like make.
That's exactly
better.
what it is, because being out on the road, the baseline stress is already higher than what your baseline stress normally is.
Yeah.
And then you add in the fact that you're playing the shows, and then the fact that you're out for however long you're out, and then the fact that you got to worry about money, and just there's a lot of things that people don't expect to be concerns when you're on the road like that until you're out there.
Yeah.
And that's why we made these notes, because like you're saying, it's like it's all stressors, and all of these are just like you're proactive,
absolutely,
not reactive.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be on the road and go, oh man, our tire's flat and I don't have a spare, and also none of the tools to change it or the knowledge to do it, or just also I didn't get an oil change in the van before we left, and also it needs a new battery, and also like it's stuff like that. So notes from the crew, and then we're almost done here, guys. I know it's been a minute. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
As a photographer on the road, this is from Evan's point of view. As a photographer on the road, don't view the other photographers as competition. Meet them, be friendly, be willing to work with them, and network. You never know what you might learn from someone that takes your work to the next level, let alone potential opportunities that could be there. So
That's
be
good.
kind.
That's
Yeah.
good.
He did a ton of networking. Like I told him at the start of the tour, I was like, dude, you need to network with everybody. Like network, ask questions, just always be talking to someone, bend people's ear constantly because he's young, and he's new
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it. And
yeah.
just be a sponge. And he did a really good job at it. When you're on the road with the band doing photography or anything else for them, you're part of that band. Be willing to help the homies out with gear and stuff that they need. Don't let someone overwork you or treat you poorly, and never put your own health at risk. Just be willing to be part of the team. It goes an incredibly long way. And that was from Evan. That's not from the band. That's from Evan.
That's pretty good.
And as a band member, it does go a long way. And just having that guy, having Evan at the stage whenever I'm loading on, because I run all of our like in-ear stuff, like all the computer and stuff. So I have a lot of stuff to set up when I get up there.
Yeah.
A couple shows in, he was like, "How can I help?" I showed him how to put the straps on my guitars. I showed him how to set up my guitar stand, and I showed him the order that I liked them in. And so every night, that's what he did. And then whenever we were
Wow.
done, he would take them off. And just having him do that saved me 5 minutes a night. So you add that up, and it's
Wow.
it's great. So just be part of the band, man. If you're out on the road with a band that you don't feel that connection with, do a better job at finding people to work with, I guess. If a band member needs help with something and you don't know how to do it, just ask and they'll teach you. You can gain so many invaluable skills if you're willing to help people, or if you're willing to help the homies out with load in, setup, tear down, etc. And this was the thing he wanted to harp on. Ask every single time something confuses you. It's better to have to ask multiple times than to hurt yourself or hurt some gear.
That's good.
So if a band member's like has this piece of gear and it takes them a minute to set it up, just go, hey man, show me how to help you set that up. I would rather explain it to you every single night how to open the latches on Bertha, which is our inner monitor rig, than you break one.
Right.
Like I'd rather have to explain it every single time and you actively be doing it
Makes sense.
than you break it. So
That makes sense.
just ask the question, man. And if you don't feel comfortable asking the questions, maybe the band is at cause there, but maybe you just need to learn how to speak up. You know what I'm saying? But like, don't be afraid to ask the questions.
Well, he's learning lots of invaluable things.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I
It's
mean,
amazing.
for him too, being young, being
Yeah.
out, it's like just everything is a learning experience. So it's definitely good advice from him. Speak up for your needs and wants. You have a say just like the others do in the van. You're on the road. You're part of that crew. You're just as important as everyone else that's there. So if you have a need or a want, you have to speak up and you have to be adamant about it. Like you can't do that thing that people like to do where they like hint at their needs. They're like, "Oh man, are you guys hungry? Oh man, oh dude, I would love like just like a drink right now." Like, don't do that.
Dude.
Do not do that. Hey, I'm hungry. When are we eating? I'm
wa-
very hungry. When are we eating?
I was I watched this thing. I did like this. There was this training on DBT, on this dialectical behavioral therapy, and the guy who was training, he was telling the story how they were at like some they were at what was the place called? Where you kind of like I guess we make your own burrito. What's it called? Like Chipotle?
Yeah, Chipotle. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he was at a Chipotle and everything, and he was noticing. He was like telling the person behind the counter what they wanted on their burrito and this, that, and the other, and they noticed that the person they didn't really put a whole lot of onions like on their burrito and everything, and the guy who was doing the training kind of looked over. He kind of noticed. He goes, "Were you wanting more onions?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, why don't you just ask him?" He's like, "Well, I want to bother." He's like,
I don't want to bother him.
"Yeah, I don't want to bother." He's like, "Well, it's like they don't know unless you
Yeah.
ask, and don't you like put it on them and like be mad at them all day because they didn't know what you really wanted.
Yeah, you didn't speak up.
Yeah, you didn't speak up.
Yeah.
So if you want something, ask, because it's not on them that you didn't ask."
Yeah.
I love that. That's really good.
I think that one was a really good tip that got put in there because there was kind of a situation that happened on the tour. Photographer from one of the other bands was kind of, from our perspective, not really like speaking up when he had needs or, whenever like things were happening that were frustrating him. It just kind of like, we said, he bottled it up and then it all kind of came out at once and it was just like a whole thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why it's important, man. It's like people can't read your minds, man.
No.
And like,
No.
Why are you just making yourself more miserable?
Right.
Just say you're hungry and and say, no, we need to get food, you know?
Yeah.
And then when you pull up to the venue, if no one else wants to get food, then just go get food, bro. Like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself.
Right.
And then that leads to the next point. Have the means to take care of yourself and make sure to take care of yourself and your personal needs. Like, when you need to use the restroom, go use the restroom. Like, the main thing is like eating, drinking, you know, I'm tired, I'm too hot, I need a break, whatever, like, that's fine. But you have to like make that known.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, in our case, like me being a vet, a Marine Corps vet, you know, Chris being a Navy vet, and us having like veterans in the band, like, I can shut off being hungry. I can shut off being tired. I can shut it off to a very like wide extent, to the point of like, I can go a day or two without eating. You know, if I'm just real busy and real caught up, like, I can just shut it off and just go.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't like that. And when you're talking like, especially someone that's not military and never really like been in a situation where things are that stressful, that consistently,
Right.
you can't sit and wait on that guy to be hungry or to need water or whatever, because you're just going to stress yourself out for no reason. Like, we're all on our own
Right.
path. So you got to
Exactly.
just speak up, you know, as you need it. So you got to make sure you take care of yourself. And with that is speaking up. So
That's good.
the next thing he said was have a checklist of your gear and make sure you keep good track of everything. Self-explanatory. Again, bring backups of everything. And even he said everything twice. If you're questioning whether or not you have something, and these are his exact words, if you're questioning whether or not you have something, get your ass up and look for it. Never leave something on a whim and hope that it's there. Never, ever, ever, ever. Like, there are so many nights where it's like, hey, you guys see my laptop bag back there? Or my camera bag back there? And it's just like, no, hold on, let me turn the light on. And then you have like 3 dudes scrambling to look for it. And it's like, no, you make sure that your bag is in here before everyone else gets in here.
Right.
And then we're not having to play this, oh, I don't see it. Oh, let me move everything on the bunks 7 times just to find your bag. Like, so that was from him. Get your ass up and look for it. It also just helps you with your own peace of mind as well. AirTag. It's on here a bunch
That's
again.
my favorite. I like that one.
Do everything you can to expand your portfolio on the road. If you need a night off from shooting multiple bands, at least take time to message local support for or other bands from future dates to keep lining up work for yourself. Be willing to work with smaller bands and expand your portfolio. Evan went from charging $25 to I think $75 by the end of the tour for shooting
Nice.
band set, and then he was getting work. So, like, just always be working, expand your portfolio. If a band can't afford your rate, work with them, man. Who cares? An extra $25 in your pocket for 10 photos. Who cares?
That's good.
And
That's
that's
good.
the end of the tips.
That's invaluable. That's awesome. I appreciate that because,
Yeah.
like, man, I was like, man, he thought of a lot of things I wouldn't have thought about. And as you got like probably like about 80% done, I'm going, these are things that kind of like be proactive, so you're not like create stress.
Mm-hmm. That's why we wanted to write them down, because a lot of those notes were things that, a lot of them were things that we did. We already, we did, but a lot of them were things that we learned as we went. And it was like, man,
Right.
this is
Right.
annoying. This is annoying. This, how can we counteract this? And, these are all just tips and our thoughts on it. What worked for us might not work for everybody, but those are all things that every band is going to have to deal with. Like,
Well,
everything on that list.
Well, it's kind of principled. I mean, this makes sense. What was the thing? Murphy's Law?
Yeah.
Or, those type of things. It's like, it's just good. It's just a good idea to do.
Yeah.
So you don't stress yourself. Or don't do any of them and just be utterly.
Scratch the wild card that's life. You know what I mean? And just figure out what happens.
And who knows? I'm sure there are some bands out there that, maybe they, after the first tour, they decided, hey, we don't want to do this anymore because they didn't do any of those things. It's like, no, it's too crazy. It's too stressful or whatever.
Oh, man. The amount of people that were like, oh, just bring a ton of baby wipes. Bring more baby wipes, anything you need. And it's like, I was in the military. I get that. It's the same thing in the military. You go on a deployment, just bring as many as you can because you're going to need them. Get a gym membership and go shower, you creature.
You're probably gonna spend just the same amount.
Yes. It's like $15 a month.
You're gonna feel a ton better.
And a lot of bands just go to like truck stops and they pay for the showers there. Do you know how much one shower for one person at a Love's is?
No.
It's $18
No way.
for one shower. And there were bands on the road that were like, no, we just hit Love's. And we were like, why would you do that? And they're like, well, it's just kind of a waste of money to pay for membership. We don't shower every night. And it's like, brother, $15. The black card is what, 20? I think it's $20 a month or $25 a month for that. And you can get a guest.
It's like you do want to profit from the tour, correct?
You shower one time at a Love's and you've paid for your membership for the month. Like, I don't know. That's why the first tip was like a lot of bands kind of choose to just suffer in odd ways.
When you don't have to.
Yeah. Like,
you still walk away that was like enjoyable experience.
There's a lot of suffering that you can't negate, but there's a lot of it that you can, and a little bit more like thought up front. We ended up getting one of those Jackery like rechargeable like generator. Basically, it's like an electric generator.
Yeah.
So it's a giant battery pack. Lifesaver, game changer. Run fans off of it for days before it needs to be recharged. So like, pull over and you need to sleep. Plug a couple fans up to the Jackery, and everyone can sleep relatively well, And
shoot, man.
Next time we go out, we're gonna have offshore power put on the van, and then we'll be able to just plan our stops at KOAs. And I already have a little AC unit we can have in there, and then just hit a KOA and no more hotel fees.
So what's a KOA?
It's like one of the camping grounds. You pull up like RVs and stuff like that. All over the United States, just like rest stops and stuff are, and they're like $20 a night.
Dude, that'd be nice.
Sure, you get shore power on the van. A little. Some bands just have like the window AC units. They'll install them on one of their back glass. But I have like a floor AC, one of the ones with the wheels on it. It's about yay tall.
Nice.
You just vent it out a window. But yeah, man, you do that type of stuff, and you can sleep in the van anytime. You pull up to a venue, you just run an extension cable from the venue to the van, run the AC, and you can sleep.
Bro.
There's a lot of like game-changing stuff.
I would be like, if I were in your shoes, like if I'm coming off this tour and everything, I'd be all like, I'd be stoked for the next tour just because like I can like do all the things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Okay, now that I know what I know, I'm ready to go back out.
That's one of them. Podcast aside, we were gonna have like a debrief to say after the tour of the band. We still haven't done it yet, just because everyone's been busy. But we're going to get in the chat, discuss everything, and
Nice.
just kind of go over all the notes and anything that anyone feels like, we could have done this better, and then, next time just best foot forward. But
Awesome.
not a lot of bands do this type of stuff, and that's why I wanted to take the notes, and I'm glad we have the podcast for our locals here.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Because touring does not have to be insufferable all the time, just sometimes.
And you never know when the opportunity might come. Where like, I'm working a lot, but like you never know like the opportunity we might get like this wild hair to go. Because like I'd love to go down. Like I have a buddy in Miami. I've always talked about like how you talk about things like, man, I'd love to go tour down like down to Miami.
It's like a little like 3 or 4 day thing.
Yeah, just go because like I haven't seen my friend in years. He probably has stories too. Like he was like he was a guitar tech for Killswitch like for years.
Yeah.
So he has like I'm sure he has like all these stories and
Man.
all these different things you can do.
Yeah.
But,
of course he does.
I'm like from Killswitch and everything, and it was so like we were like old skateboard friends, and he played for like Santa Sangre, and he plays for All Hell Breaks Loose now. But it's like I'm always interested in because I'm always interested as far as in the touring aspect, like because there's a lot of things that go on that you don't hear about. Bands go on tour, but you don't know what it
the
takes.
actual day to day.
The actual day to day.
Yeah.
And everything, because everybody has like a speculative idea, like what they think,
Mm-hmm.
It's like the meme is like what tour you think, what you think it is, or what it actually is.
The actually is you asleep on a bunk in a van, waking up confused in a Casey's parking lot in some place you've never been.
It's like what?
And it's also already 105 out and full humidity. So yeah, no, that's
joy to the world.
Oh man,
Nice.
For anybody that is a musician and is curious, touring is just like being on a deployment. Not a combat deployment because you're not getting shot at, but like, a training deployment, or if you've ever been to the 29 stumps to do ITX or anything like that, like it's just like that, man. You wake up to load in, you load out to go to sleep, and you wake up to load in. I mean, it's all the hurry up and wait and but it's so much fun, man. I mean, you playing in a new city every night, and for us, fortunately, having fans in a lot of those places already, you get to meet those people. And for me, I had a lot of friends that I've been friends with through the internet that I hadn't got to meet. I got to meet a ton of those people on the tour. So
Wow.
It was insane, man. Everything about it is awesome. I mean, I can't implore anyone that is a musician and that's their dream, just keep pushing. Um, as long as Gorepig's doing it, I mean, any opportunity we ever have for runs like shorter stuff or anything, I want to bring bands from here out with us.
That's awesome, buddy.
Even if it's just for like portions of the run or whatever. Like,
Oh yeah.
I definitely want to share the love, and I want to help any band that's here that I can. If you're in a band and you think that I could help your band out, like please hit me up. In any way that I can, I want to help the bands out here.
I know that. I mean, that's what I mean. I know we've chatted. We've chatted for a while, like on Messenger and everything. I never got a chance to talk in person, but I always kind of got that impression that, like, it was, well, it was really, really overt that you really had a heart for the scene.
Yeah.
Whatever you could do to kind of devote time and energy.
I will say this to
bands.
that though, just for self-awareness purposes, like I am a vet and I was in the Marines, so like I can be kind of brash, I can come off a little, I don't know how to say it other than that. I can seem to be a certain way, but if you take the time to hang out with me and talk with me, I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable, passionate, compassionate guy. Like
I'll do reasonable all day long.
yeah,
Yeah, you're a good dude.
but I've had interactions with some people in the scene here and some people in the Central Arkansas scene, and I've had a bunch of people tell me when they meet me, like, man, I really kind of thought you would be, but to be honest, I thought you would be an asshole.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, really? And I understand why people think that. Like, I totally get it, just with how straightforward I am and direct I am with like my own thoughts and feelings on things, and that can be to a fault. I can be kind of rude to people if I disagree with them sometimes on certain things, and I'm aware of that. But the music stuff, like, please take the time, reach out to me, get to know me, and like, let's work on music. Like, I want this scene to flourish, and I have access to a lot of stuff. Like, I have a full studio set up in my house. I can do everything. I need like 3 mics to be able to track drums. And if I had a band come that was actually pushing it, I would buy the mics. Like, I'm really passionate about helping the people in this area of any genre. It doesn't matter. Like, just reach out to me. If I can help you, I will. I know
That's
tons of
beautiful.
people. Like, I've been doing this since I was 13, 14, and I'm about to be 31.
So
like,
there you go. Yeah, just totally do the math.
Yep.
Man, I'm 50, man. I'm willing to learn stuff, dude. Like, and I'm like,
And that's a reason why I want to network with people too. Is there's a ton of stuff that I can learn still, and
yeah,
we all get stronger together in this area. And
absolutely.
we want the scene
100%.
to grow. We need really solid bands.
Just keep pushing forward. I think that's kind of like that might be the common thread.
100%.
Just to keep pushing forward. Don't let up, or because, man, like doing something. I always tell my clients, if people are doing one healthy thing a day is better than not, or doing the opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Don't think it's not worthwhile, because it absolutely is.
Sweeping your floor for 5 minutes a day is better than never sweeping your floor at all month long.
Yeah.
And that's, I keep coming back to giving the advice of just like, the only secret is don't give up. And I don't know how ready or how close we are to ending, but I wanted to get this in there before we did.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
On the topic of not giving up, and being involved in that is dealing with the persecution, dealing with being mocked, potentially dealing with, guys that you compare yourself to potentially being rude to you or looking down on you, or, being two-faced and acting one way to your face and another whenever you're not there. And all this goes back to like my high school band. And I say that because we were not good. I know we were not good. And I mean, that's just like, the music was just not good. It just wasn't good.
Gotcha.
But we were young and we were having fun. And a lot of the guys in the Memphis scene at the time, and even here in Jonesboro, there was a lot of guys that just did not like my band. Like, just didn't like us, clowned on us, really talked a lot of shit. But then when we would play shows, they would be really kind and, like all that.
Yeah.
And I want to say all that to say, I know there's someone in the scene here now that is in a band that feels some type of way about themselves, or their self-doubt, or, they've heard someone say comments about their music or whatever. Those same guys that used to mock my bands and trash us and all that, every single one of them are now fans of me and have hit me up on the side and apologized.
Wow.
And been like, man, you make incredible music now. Like, all of those dudes have eaten their words. They've eaten their actions. The proverbial foot is in the mouth. And I'll say this, I don't hold it against them. I forgive all those guys. We're kids. They didn't know any better. And my point with that isn't to say, hold a grudge and win out of hate. But just keep doing it because you love it, man. Like, if you keep doing it because you love it, those guys that are getting caught up on the popularity contest aspect of music, or
Sure.
writing music for the popularity or whatever it is,
Yeah.
they're going to be the ones 10 years from now that aren't doing it anymore because they lost. It was never about passion; it was
Right.
about the image. And you're going to be the one that prevails in the end, in whatever format, doesn't matter. But um, anybody that feels like giving up because they're being bullied or anything like that, like, you can make those dudes eat their words, man. Just keep going.
I like that. I
Period.
like that.
And anything. It doesn't have to be music. Anything.
Those are good. Those are good words and signs. Now, hopefully that's really timely for people. And like, as you were talking, I was like, I can remember like times where like, and we were both skaters back when it wasn't really that popular probably. And
Yeah.
I can remember like, just like, man, I'm just going to quit, or whatever. And I can remember this some random dude just come up to me. He didn't look like a skater or anything like that, but he was just like, said, don't quit. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It don't matter, and I loved it because like that made me, of course, in that day, sometimes that's just exactly what we need. We need somebody to tell us not to stop, not to quit.
It's
And
funny that you mentioned that, because something that I tell, guys that come to me for advice and stuff is like, you're only ever like a few seconds away from hearing something that changes your life.
Yeah.
Whether it's a piece of advice, whether it's just a piece of information you didn't know, whether it's, you go to the park every day and you take this one way, but then this one day you see a lady and she's like, oh, if you take this road, it's whatever. So like, that's very like out there. But I'm just saying, you're only ever a few seconds away from learning something or seeing something or experiencing something or being told something or a compliment. You're only ever like one breath of air away from your life being completely different. And so, as soon as you take yourself out of the circumstance where that could happen, i.e. music and playing shows and being in venues and networking, that shuts that down, that opportunity down. And the big thing with like learning is, as a musician, you could be one piece of advice away from being so motivated you never stop. And I say all that to say, as we get older gentlemen or women, and the theys and the thems, you slowly become you slowly become the person that, well, we're always in the position to be the person that can give the life-changing advice or sentiment or compliment, right?
Sure, yeah.
But at some point when you're pursuing something like music, you hit a point where you are an OG in the community, you're respected, you're someone that's been around, you're like a staple guy. And so it's your responsibility to empower the newer generations and the younger generations.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to put yourself in the position to give those one statement pieces of advice that motivates that person for life. So to round it back to what you're saying, you said that guy told you not to stop, and that's what kept you going. I mean, we as people, as musicians, whether your band is world famous or you have 50 monthly listeners or one, doesn't matter.
Right.
You never know at a show when someone's going to come up to your merch table and they're just a huge fan, and what you say to them could shape their music career, could shape how they think about. It's as simple as this. I had a drill instructor. He told me one time in boot camp, and I'll never forget this. He said, I don't care if it's a hand washing competition. I'm going to have the cleanest hands in there. It's about putting your best foot forward, and it's about that mentality.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in that position where you are playing and someone's coming to you and they're saying like, oh man, blah, 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 you could change that person's life with one statement. Yeah. So just always be willing to be that person, and just always be willing to be on the other side of that and accept that life-changing piece of advice.
That's really good too.
So it's like you hit a point where you're responsible for saying those things just as much as you're responsible for hearing those things. And so all of those things to say, don't forget where you come from, and always just be kind, man. Just be kind and motivate people. Like, you can give constructive criticism that's not just, I don't really like this. Like, if you're not a fan of the music, say that. It's fine. But don't be rude about it,
Oh yeah, 100%.
Always try to inspire people, man, because I can't tell you how many one-liners I've heard that I think of every single day, and the person that said it, it's nothing to them.
Right.
They say it all the time or whatever, So that's kind of long-winded. But
No, because like they'll come up to you and like, yeah, man, that you said something that really kind of like made me think, or kind of like changed what I did or impacted my life. And you can't remember for the life of you like what you said.
Or it's something you say all the time. You say to
Exactly
people all the
right.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you never know who it's going to impact, and that's kind of my whole thing is like be conscious about that stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Especially as a musician, especially as an older musician, and especially as a musician if you have a following in your area. Like it's just I don't know, man. There's a lot of great power comes great responsibility. I guess that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
I like it. Man, this has been awesome. Like this is like the invaluable information. Like you said, no, you've been doing it for what, since you were 13 and everything.
13, 14, yeah.
And the information, everything that's been acquired, since then is, over the years is like invaluable. And like, I hope people are kind of like, take it to heart. You're never too old or too young to kind of learn something that's going to benefit, what you like, what you started, whether it's a band or a project or whatever. So I'm grateful, man. This is what hopefully people kind of can return to.
Yeah.
As like,
cool.
for reference, because not only does it document like what your band is doing and what you guys are doing, but it also it's just really good, it's really good things just to kind of, it's good life advice, because some of this stuff, if it's really truly taken to heart, you really can save yourself a lot of like stress and trouble. And not that there's not that there's not going to be headaches and everything else, but you're definitely going to limit the amount of headaches you have. Just kind of
at a certain point, the beauty is that there's going to be headaches, and the beauty is you can deal with them.
There you go.
So
I like it.
I'll say this. The last thing that I'll say is my last cliche statement is your dream starts and stops with you. And anybody that's listening, as soon as you give up, it's over. And it's not over until you give up. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
Well, that's good though. That's good though, because I think you're like kind of walking proof of that. Like you can say that with some authority. Like like I'm here I am. I'm kind of looking in the rear view.
There's nothing special that I did the whole time. I just kept doing it.
Just not giving up.
Yep.
And I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, man.
I've heard that from a lot of people. Who was it? Listen, somebody said the same thing. Oh, so don't get a big head. I heard Tom Brady say something really, really something close to that. He goes, there is nobody special out there. He said the only difference between you and somebody else, that quit is that, he said, there's people out there who decide that, they put in the hard work. They put in the hard work that other people don't want to put in.
What are you willing to do that they're not? That's at the end of the day, that's all it is.
He said, he said, if you're willing to do all that,
you'll get to where you want to be.
You'll get to where you want to be.
That's the secret in life: is self-honesty and just not giving up. I don't care if you're tired of hearing my music. I'm gonna keep making it. It's just every day you wake up, it's a bad day as long as I'm alive. If you don't like my music, because we're steady working on it.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you guys.
I'm excited for you guys, man. It was cool catching you. I wanted to speak on that real quick. The Metal Fest was cool. I didn't get to see all the bands. I took my wife and she was ready to go after a couple bands, but it was sick, man. I got to see you guys, Death's Fog, and then I caught a little bit of Atos. Those are my buddies. Their drummer actually films our music videos. Atos.
Really?
Yeah, Devin, their drummer, he does photography, real estate. He does videos. Super good.
I didn't get a chance to go. I was famished after our set.
I figured, yeah.
And so I could. That's the one band I did want to.
Yeah, they rip, man.
I didn't catch
I really like those guys. I caught them last year at the fest, and then again this year. But
that was one I was really looking forward to, and I can't believe I didn't.
Yo, shout out Devin Castle. You guys need music videos, you should work with him. He's very, very affordable on the budget. Like he will work with you on the price 100%. I can almost guarantee you he will work with you on the price for videos. He does very good work. He did the Pigsty video and the Dirt Nap video.
Really?
Yeah. So very good, and he'll come to Jonesboro too. Like super solid guy, very good dude.
Dude, I like it.
So I'll have to put y'all in touch. But yeah, shout out to all the NEA bands. Shout out all my homies in Central Arkansas. Shout out Gary.
Yeah.
Your wife. I appreciate you guys, man.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you. There's only one thing left to say.
H870.
Yeah, Dakota. I appreciate you.
Gary.
I love you. I think you're awesome.
Love you too, brother.
But I'd love to sit here and talk to you all day, but I'm not going to,
we'll
buddy.
have to get the part 2 at some point.
We'll do part 2.
If there's a demand for it.
Well, I got a thing I got to do, and
you don't want to work with me anymore. Okay.